And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Benched with Bubba, a special edition of Benched with Bubba, episode 459, a live NFBC Online Champions Draft, my third Online Champions Draft of the young season. If you'd like to partake in this draft and ask some questions as we go along, you need to go to the Fantasy DGens YouTube channel. Watch over there. You can drop your questions there because Twitter doesn't allow that anymore. But thanks for joining us as always. Should be a fun one here. I got pick 5. We're starting in about 3 minutes here. Should be about a 2-hour draft. They go along really nice and quick. It's going to be fun to see how ADP changes. We know Tatis has been falling like crazy for good reasons. The DeGrom news that dropped a couple days ago, that should be fun. If you are watching on YouTube, we got the board you guys can check out there with nobody's names on there to make everybody happy. But again, I am pick 5, and we'll definitely go pick by pick the best I can. Give you some process along the way if that is of interest to you. So we'll discuss some picks, maybe some guys that shock us along the way. Hopefully the internet holds on long enough and we can have some fun and make this happen. I just going to draft anyway, so we might as well do it for the people. But we got some prospects. Torkelson's getting the start. Witt Jr. is getting the start. Brash is getting up there. Looks like J-Rod might not be getting to start with the big club. We got Quan of Cleveland getting the start there. So it'll be fun to see how these prospects move around, of course, as people love taking their chances there. We're going to have a lot of interesting things. These drafts go off the wire real quick, and we've seen it with OCs and main events here over the last few days. ADP has gone out the window. I'll give you some of my stuff. Usually I try to get an ace or two early, a closer early, but I don't have to. And we might not do that this with pick 5. Usually I'm picking 1 through 3 or in the back end, so pick 5 could be a totally different game. Like in a perfect world, J-Ram would come to me, but that doesn't happen very often. I expect him to go pretty early. We'll see, though. If you just look at NFBC Online ADP over the last couple days, last 20 drafts, it's got Trey Turner, Juan Soto, J-Ram, 1, 2, 3, followed by Vlad and Bichette, Cole. So that'll be fun to see. Do I go Bichette? Do I go Cole? Do I go Corbin Burns? Does something change where it falls into my lap? That'll be an intriguing situation as well. So a lot of fun stuff to see as we go. Obviously, it's 12 teams, not 15. The OC a little different than the mains in that regard. Still 30 roster spots, so we'll draft the whole thing for you. I'll do my best to keep commentary, but once in a while, I'll be flipping back and forth through pages and checking things down. I got my notes over here to the side for a couple things I need to pay attention to, but for the most part, we've been doing this. If you're a regular listener to the show, we've got this content wrapped up for the most part. So if you're not ready to draft by now in my shoes, then probably shouldn't have been drafting all along. So we're ready to rock and roll and see how things go. Got about a minute till go time. A frequent listener to the show, Dave Petroziello, is in this league. I will say that much. He's picking second, so that'll be a lot of fun. Don't know many of the other people, and maybe I do, and I'm just being oblivious to the situation, but I don't know many other names in this chat, so that should be a lot of fun as well because I like it's fun drafting against people you might not know because we got so many industry leagues and so many just NFBC leagues where we know everybody that we're all in there drafting, so this should be a lot of fun. If you are, a couple plugs real quick. Obviously, Bench with Bubba. Bubba the Bat Flips on Tuesdays. Bubba and the Bloom on Thursday has been awesome. Thank you for the great responses to that. We have a blast doing it, myself and Ryan Bloomfield. Try to get you a guest every Wednesday if we can. Starting the season next Thursday, MLB DFS Quick Hits will be back. So if you're liking that, you can find the video on this YouTube channel, Fantasy DGen's YouTube channel, plus the MLB DFS Quick Hits feed in your listening platforms Monday through Friday to get your DFS lineups ready early and often when you wake up. Should be ready to go. But we are ready to go right now. 5 seconds to go to start the draft. Let's rock and roll and have a little fun tonight and see where we start things off on the board with the first pick of the OC draft. We have someone's taking more than 10 seconds. This is fun. But we'll have to wait and see where he goes. You got to go Trey. Trey's my number one. I'd take Trey every single time. People say diversification. It's Trey Turner with a bullet for me when we're drafting early and often. So that's where I go, and that's where he went with Trey Turner. So that makes a ton of sense. And there goes J-Ram, number 2 to Petroziello, of course. So now it gets fun. Do I go Bo? Do I go Garrett Cole? I was telling myself I wasn't going to go pitching early, but with the 5th pick, it's like you get Cole Burns. Then in a 12-team league with pitching so deep, you can kind of just wait on pitching for a while. That might be one scenario I go with because Vladito just went 3rd overall. This will be fun here because Soto, I don't have a lot of shares of. I don't usually take a ton with the 9 to 10 stolen base upside, but he does give such an amazing batting average, power, runs, RBI floor. That's pretty tough to pass up at this point in time. So Soto, Bichette, Cole, Burns is where I'll be making my decision. I don't have a lot of Burns shares, part of me is thinking I might want to go with a little Burns here if all things are considered. But Soto is very, very tempting here at pick 5. He'll be hitting around Nelson Cruz, Josh Bell. There'll still be tons of production at the top of that Nationals lineup at least. And there goes Bubba at number 5. So now it gets fun. You go Soto, you go Cole, you go Burns. I'm going to go with Corbin Burns. I want my first share of Corbin Burns. So we're going to go Corbin Burns for the upside. Big season from Burns last year. Tons of strikeouts. We'll go Corbin Burns at pick 5. We're diversifying right out the gate, folks. Usually we don't do it's my first Corbin Burns share. I've got a lot of Garrett Cole if I've drafted in the middle. And Soto goes at 6 right away. So that makes a lot of sense. But yet my first Burns share will be quite interesting. Now the fun begins. And some chats I'm in with Mike Kurland and some others, I kind of said who I'd like to get in the second and third round. Some players that I'm usually not on. And I do this every draft season. My last couple drafts, some might call it a FOMO draft, but it's not players I was against drafting all season. I just either didn't like their ADP or didn't flow with my safe builds because I'm a much safer drafter than most. But when we're going for this overall here, this is the third. I've done 2 drafts already, and they might be safer than most would like. They're still definitely upside picks, but now it's time to still take some safety picks throughout the draft. But right now, I might go for some gusto. I love Lou Bob. Doubt he falls to me with my second pick, the 20th pick overall. That would be a gift. Love Ozzie Albies. Big fan of Ozzie Albies. Also, those would be 2 amazing picks if they fell to me. In 12 teams leagues, weird things happen. So that'd be really cool. But there's a couple really boomer busty type guys I'd love to see. And Garrett Cole went pick 9 overall. So you'd have to wonder if I took Cole at 5, does Burns fall to 9? So that could have been a fun thing to see between Chianci and myself to see what he wanted. If he was planning on Burns and Cole just fell, or he wanted something else and Cole just fell, that could have been a fun discussion as well. So we'll have to wait and see where that one comes along. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to see these early picks where it's tough to go completely wrong. It's just you need to know where it's going to build you as you go into these 12 teams leagues. There's so much pitching. You definitely want the big dogs to help anchor your staff, especially in an overall. But unlike the main event where you need to really, really anchor things down, you don't really need to as much in the OC as long as you know that those middle rounds, which I've done podcasts with Ryan Bloomfield on, I've written articles on it at Fantasy Pros and at Fantrax.com that really highlight the mid rounds where you can just rack up some really, really legit starting pitchers. And that's kind of where I'm going to go now. Now that I got Corbin Burns, let's go and get some of the other things I'm debating doing in this draft. I got to say debating just in case anybody is drafting and trying to pay attention to what I'm talking about, which would be some great multitasking. There goes Lou Bob at pick 11. So that's a great pick. That's a great pick. He's a stud. I predict him to be right behind Juan Soto-ish at the end of the season. I think he's that good. I could have taken him at pick 5. Might have been a little bit of a reach there, but I think he's going to be that good. So we'll wait and see. But I usually take a closer or 2 early. Usually try to get a catcher or 2 early. Might not do this time. Might try to be a little different in that regard and just load up on some big boys and see how things go there. So I'm really going to do things a little different in this draft. Another reason why it's fun to broadcast this one out there and let you guys tag along for the ride. Again, if you want to comment and join along here, go to the Fantasy Degens YouTube channel, and you can join there. Mike Trout with the 12th pick overall to end out round 1. So he's moving up the boards quite a bit as well, which is fun to see with Trout. But we'll see. We got about 8 picks to go till my next go around here. And it'll be fun to see if Ozzie Albies falls, or do I take a chance on one guy, which I don't want to say his name just yet, just in case. But there's a couple names I have written down next to me that I want to try to the perfect start to my second and third rounds. These are the guys I'm going for. So we're going to wait and see. And it'll probably be jumping ADP. Let's just put it that way. If I get these guys, so it'll definitely be fun to see how this goes. Just looking at ADP over the last 2 days, 21 OC drafts. I'd be jumping almost a round and a half or so that would be fun. And the other one I'd be jumping about 2 to 3 rounds. So we'd be taking a giant leap on some of those. So we're going to have to wait and see. Maybe I play possum and try to push that second one to round 4, but I have a hunch I won't get him based on some of the main event ADP I saw from today after some news was dropped that it would probably prevent him from falling to me. So we'll wait and see how that one goes. And obviously I'll give you analysis of my thoughts when these picks are made, but come join the chat because I can sit here and answer all the questions you want while you got me. And we'll see what goes. Walker Buehler, first pick in round 2. He's kind of been an interesting option. Woodruff went right behind him. I have Woodruff over Buehler all day for me. I love Woodruff. I love the durability of Woodruff. You're talking about 200 plus inning guy potentially. And at least 180, just a durable guy, lots of strikeouts, great ratios. The easy, like lazy analysis I usually give is if Corbin Burns was not so good, people would talk much more about Brandon Woodruff. Brandon Woodruff is a legit ace on any team. He just happens to be next to Corbin frickin' Burns, and that makes it difficult to do. There goes Ronald Acuna with the 3rd pick in round 2. That could be a fun pick, great for the overall. He would have been a fun one to fall to. And there goes Kyle Tucker. So now it's getting fun. Now we're 4 picks away. And it's like, do I take the jump or do I wait? I might wait till round 3 and then round 4 for these 2 guys. We'll see how well this plays out. Because if Ozzie Albies falls to me here, I'm going to be doing cartwheels as best a big man like myself can. Don't think Ozzie Albies will. I think someone's going to jump and take him here, but we'll see. And this is where it gets really hard to stay disciplined when I said I don't want to take 2 aces now since I have 1, because you still have Scherzer, who's got the hamstring injury day to day. He seems like he's not too worried, but still, hammies are hammies. You got Zach Wheeler with a shoulder. He might miss 1 or 2 starts. Still an absolute beast. You got some stud pitchers still out there, which makes it really tempting to go that direction. But we'll see. There goes Max Scherzer at pick 17. So that takes that question off the board. 3 picks to go. Let's all cross our fingers for Ozzie Albies. That would be a fun gift. Casey, yes, that is who I'm hoping falls to me in round 3. We'll give that away. I'll post your question. You have to be in the chat to see what Casey said, but he guessed who I'm talking about taking. I was going to take him here at pick 20, but I think I'm going to wait till pick 29 if I can hopefully get him. That would be my goal, but Petroziello might get me because he knows my thought process sometimes here. But we're going to hope for Ozzie Albies here, 3 picks away. That'd be pretty darn sweet if Albies falls my direction, but we'll see. Some of these guys are really thinking things through. There goes Shane Bieber. Bieber jumped all the way up. See, things are moving at pick 18. Now that's a surprise pick for me because the Biebs, his ADP has been 31, so he jumped them up there about 13 picks over the last couple days, and that's a little bit of a jump there, folks. So really interesting to see the Biebs jump up there. I would have probably taken Wheeler. There goes Rafael Devers. So, yep, I have to do it. I got to stay on brand. Those that listen to me and follow my content enough. Ozzie Albies is my dude. The fact he just fell at pick 20, we're going to have to put the other guys on hold. Casey guessed who the other guy is. If he drops to pick 29, we'll be really happy with our start here. But Ozzie Albies as my second baseman, I will take that pretty much 10 out of 10 times. And if something happens to him this year, you guys will all know just how good my teams are doing. Let's put it that way. That's going to be a tough one to swallow. Is if Albies struggles a bit, but that Atlanta offense is going to be absolutely awesome. So it's going to be fun checking that out for sure. I think he's going to be hitting first or second in order with Acuna. Could hit even first potentially. We saw the power and the speed last year. He's a legit 30-20 guy. He's still very young, still finding his own. He's a really, really strong option there. Yordan Alvarez went right after me. I was debating him. He's literally a guy. I told you I do these FOMO drafts like towards the end of the season, and I plan on doing one more OC. So maybe that'll be the full FOMO draft. But I did one last year, like a satellite, as I was building my bankroll, and I had no Yordan, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh man, we got to this guy's going to be a beast, an absolute beast." And it was the day before the season started, and I took him in the second round, and he's awesome. He's one of those guys I can't do because I love to get steals early. That's just my thing. I try to get as many 5 category, at least like 4.5 category guys, and he's so good in those 4 categories. He just doesn't do anything in stolen bases, and it makes it really tough. Petroziello with Sandy Alcantara, that is on brand for Mr. Petroziello right there. He loves him some Sandy. That's a big one. Sandy got a bump there too at round 2, pick 11. He's been going around pick 42 over the last couple of days, so that was a big bump to pick 23 or so there. Byron Buxton just got picked. That's who I was talking about. Buxton got picked at pick 25. That was a great pick. 4 picks away. Buxton's who I wanted. I know Albies wouldn't have fell back, so we went Buxton and went that route. So now it gets fun. Now it gets fun, folks, because there's 2 players I always look to draft in this range, and it's Tim Anderson and it's Teoscar Hernandez. Well, Teoscar Hernandez with the Petroziello right there, so that helps that one out. I love Tim Anderson. He's a batting average asset. He's going to hit you hopefully 20-plus bombs. He has a legit 20-20 upside, and it's just about staying healthy and hitting at the top of a just star-studded batting order. So I love everything about Tim Anderson. A lot of Tim Anderson shares. I've even done the Bo Bichette first-round Tim Anderson, like second or third-round picks. I have no problem with that. So I'm really looking to get me some Tim Anderson here. That would be really awesome. Don't really want to take Cedric Mullins. I like Cedric Mullins. Don't like paying this price tag for Cedric Mullins. Like 30-30 was awesome. Let's be honest, the regression monster should come. He might get you 25-25, which is pretty stinking good. but there's also a lot that can fall off there. So one pick away from me, Liam Hendriks, first closer off the board. He went ahead of Josh Hader right there, third pick of round 3. So those boys are still flying off the boards here, and it's understandable in an OC. You want in an overall competition, you're going to need those high saves, guys. It's tough to just punt the position, but you can find saves late, especially in 12s. You'll need to get more closers. Like in mains, you can get 2 closers. It's just you get more saves in 12-team league. That's the easiest way I can say it. There's like numbers crunch. You can look at it. You need more saves overall to qualify in a 12-team over a 15. So taking those elite guys that can get you 40-plus saves is pretty – I understand the argument. You can always find guys later. You can try to find guys later. That gets fun. Lucas Giolito went at pick 4, so Timmy Anderson, come on to Bubba's team. This. I told you I was going to try to do a FOMO draft, but here we are. We got Burns' FOMO, so we got that. But now we got Albies and Tim Anderson just doing it for you. Yeah, Kerland, no Buxton. I was hoping he was going to fall 4 picks away, Kerland. I couldn't pass on Albies. I couldn't pass. Mike Kurland's in the chat with us, and he knew that I wanted Buxton. So I'll hope my next guy comes around to be in round 4. We'll wait and see. But I couldn't pass on Albies at pick 20. That just wasn't happening. Not an option in my situation. Matt Olson coming out of the box there in pick 6 in round 3. So that's a good one. I think it's going to be really fun to see how he compares to Freddie Freeman by season's end, because that shift to Atlanta can be so tremendous for Matt Olson. It just comes down to do the gains he made at the plate discipline, the aggressiveness on first pitches that are in the zone, just the quality of his contact and like strikeout rates in general. If he can continue what he built on last year, the dude's going to be a freak in that ballpark, like a legit monster. The left-handed power plays better in that. Every power plays better in that ballpark than Oko. But lefties especially, it's tremendous. So it'll be really, really cool to see how that one comes along. Here's a good question for you. Here we go. This is why you should come join the chat. So Matt Lee, he asks, are you dropping Trinan in an OC tomorrow? If you have an immediate need, yes. In a 12-team OC, you can be much more just go get him with your drops and ads. Trinan's going to get some saves this year. There's no sugarcoating that. He will. And we saw it Kimbrel did in his first appearance. I think it was a double, homer, single, the first 4 batters he faced today. And Dave Roberts already came out and said they're going to limit his early usage. It's going to be all in saves for Kimbrel. They said it'll be in save chances, but not a lot of 2 out of 3 day, 3 out of 4 day type things. They're going to really limit him and keep him careful there. So Matt, I would drop in Trinan so you can find someone you can use now. Trinan can get the roll. Something happens to Kimbrel, he'll still run into a handful of saves because the Dodgers are going to win by 100 games. But it's going to be tough. Be like, you could put him in for 3 weeks and he might not get you 1 save. The will you bet him, he made 2 saves. It's a headache all season. There's other guys you could take your chances on. So in an OC, a 12-team league, Matt, I would be dropping Trinan. I definitely would have been. So you got that. Kerland, you are more than welcome to come join the fun if you really want to help mess with me. You're more than welcome to. I like doing this solo because I don't have to worry about you annoying me. But if you're really that bored and you can stop clogging up my feed, you're more than welcome to join me, Kerland. So just let me know. But yeah, back to Matt's question. OCs just in general, you could do a lot more dropping. I know it was a question today is how much fab would you spend on Craig Kimbrel if he's somehow available in your league? Not a lot of leagues are going to have him available, but if he is, it's a great question. I was saying like 25 to 30%. I'm not a big fab guy out the gates, especially on closers. It's one of those, and it's also because I usually draft closers early, so I feel confident in my case. But it's one of those, if you're desperate, like say you lost somebody, got hurt, or you just didn't draft it well or something, that's where it gets real interesting that you might need to be a little more aggressive. But I wouldn't go crazy just because he hasn't looked great. We know he can be great, but he hasn't looked great, and that can make things a little tough at times. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at Craig Kimbrel. And Scott Jinstead said it best. He's thinking probably 30% for OCs, like 50% potentially for mains, which I could see making some sense as well based on the different sizes and different needs for saves. That could be something that definitely checks the boxes for you too. So something to think about when you're doing all of your fun-filled ads drops, because our first fab period, folks, is tomorrow night, Sunday night. So don't forget that. And if you want some help on that, myself and Ryan Bloomfield on Bubba and the Bloom episode 2, we got that one. We got you covered, at least a head start on things in that respect when it comes to getting your first fab period going, talking about some players available, some discussion points on what to do, and how we go about it. Okay, we're about 5 picks away from eventually my first big splash. We're going to have some fun with this. his ADP of late. Yeah, we're getting closer now. My pick would be 44. It'd be the new. Let's put it this way. It'll be the new min pick, the new min pick on this individual. And I want it. This is a FOMO pick, 100% FOMO pick. So we will definitely have some fun on that when we get there. Matt Lee says, good call, would be worth using for the short weekend, but I've got to wait. That is something I can use for the rest of the season. Exactly. And that's a good point, though, because the short season is in and out. But if you can take advantage of it on this first fab period before people start paying attention to certain players, you kind of want to jump on that as well. Casey asks, on average, how much do you think Brash will go for across most leagues? And more importantly, on average, how do you think he should go for? For me, I think he's a stud. I want to clarify that. I'm worried about potential innings because he's so young. That's always something I worry about with young pitchers. Sometimes I'm overly cautious in that regard, and I fully admit that. I'd be willing to go like 20%-ish at the most, and I'll probably go like 10% of my budget, so $100 maybe. I think someone's going to really want to get Matt Brash, and they're going to spend a lot of money on Matt Brash. And it could be one of those that pays off in just diamonds, because if he's that good and he can somehow give you like 140 innings, that would be awesome. But like, let's just be real about it. Let's be brash about the situation. Pulling up his Fangraphs page for you real quick here. Just overall, like last season between single A and double A, he hasn't even pitched past double A. He threw you 93 and a third innings. So he's going to make the jump from double A to the pros. You're hoping from 93 to go to like 120, 130. That could be a stud pitcher. You just got to think, is he worth a few $100s? Is he worth 25, 30% of your whole fab for the entire season? The season hasn't even started yet. That's what you got to think about. And he could be. Don't get me wrong. He definitely could be. For me, not gonna go. Like I said, I'll put like a 10%, maybe 15% on certain teams if I'm looking for help. But it's one of those where unless you've had like a major injury or something, knock on wood, you should still be sitting pretty. So that's kind of where I'd be going in that scenario. We are 2 picks away from hopefully setting the new min pick on a certain individual. That is the goal right now. And joining us before I make that min pick is one Michael Kurland of the SK Playbook. Mike, how are you doing this evening?
Fantastic. I love impromptu invites to pods. I didn't think you'd want interruption, but
it's fun. I can do this by myself all day, but it's also better than you spamming my chat, so it works pretty well.
But spamming your chat keeps engagement going. It's just like being here in person. Like, there's no difference. No, I love where Wheeler's falling, by the way, in these OCs. I thought I'd bring that up real quick.
But no, this is why I want you in here, because you've done some OCs, and I am on the clock. And here is your min pick, pick 44. Previous min pick was 50 of one Robert Witt Jr.
There it is.
He is joining the team. I wanted Buxton. I wanted Witt. Witt, I don't think would have felt.
You know what's funny? I think Witt. The min pick, I have to go look. I'm going to pull up right now. I think the 50 min pick was my draft because I was aiming for him in the 5th round. I was going to take him. I had the 11th pick. So whatever that, I can't see the number here. Whatever that is in the 5th. Yeah. That's where I was targeting Witt, and he didn't make it to me. So I'm thinking my draft might have been where the min
would have been round 5, pick 2 would be 50.
Yeah, I'm going to check right now. But yeah, so going back to Wheeler though, real quick, I think he might miss the first round in his rotation. He just came off his rehab or bullpen, something. He's like, I feel great. I feel fine. Like, okay, cool. That's all I need to hear. If you miss 1 or 2 starts, I'm okay with that, because I think at the end of the day, most starters aren't going to go more than 60, 70 pitches in their first round anyway. So I like what we're able to get in terms of a discount on Wheeler.
Yeah, I'm with you there, and that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, he's fallen, but it makes more sense. Like, I'd rather go Wheeler than Bieber, is what I said. Like, I'll take my chances on missing Wheeler for a start or two, and go that route.
Especially in a 12, where you can make up like their stream, like the late end options. You mentioned a couple names already. I'm not gonna throw names out there. I'm just not. Like, I'm not stupid enough to do that. But you'll know this. Like in 12s, look, I actually thought. Look, I used my brain. There's something up there. It's not just hollow like my wife says.
We can agree to disagree sometimes. It's okay.
Thanks, buddy. Anyways, but yeah,
Casty, real quick. Casty, final pick around 4th. That was a big mover there. I like that quite a bit. I was actually looking
there. It is. That's the pick I was waiting for to happen. I was so upset. I was going to take Bryant in the early 4th round. I passed on him for Iglesias in my OC, and it threw me off. And now I did all right. I apparently have everything fine in that league. The only thing I'm lacking is power, like I thought. So, but Chris Bryant would have fixed that. And there goes Iglesias shortly after. Sorry.
Yeah, shortly after. Now, I'm like torn on what I want to do here. I got a lot of Tyler O'Neill shares. I like him a lot. I might go there. I need an outfielder. We have 5 outfielder leagues. I don't want to wait too long.
Mm-hmm.
I could roll with George Springer.
You're 5?
We did 5 outfielders. Yeah.
No, I'm saying you're 5. I was looking for your
my
team.
5. Yeah, I could go George Springer. I think he's going to be an absolute stud. I'm okay in steals right now. But it's just like he's not going to help a ton. And that's usually against my repertoire here. But I might go Georgie. Like I said, this is kind of a FOMO draft. So what would you do, O'Neill or George Springer?
It's an OC. You aim for the overall. I'd probably go O'Neill, and I'm not even an O'Neill guy. Like I have one O'Neill, and it's because it was in the tag team where Zach really likes him, and I was like, all right, it's fine because I don't have any. And he is a guy that kind of hits that. Like for me, I was getting to the back end of my drafts, and FOMO's kicking in. I don't want to be left out on a guy. Like I'm not a huge O'Neill guy, but I understand the potential and the skill set is intriguing. So.
Yep.
But Springer can legitimately lead the league in runs, and nobody should be surprised. It's just a matter of can he play 140? Not even 150. Give me 140. You know.
Yeah, I think I'll go back to O'Neill. That's why I've been taking him in a lot of these leagues because he gives you the 5 categories. Like assuming he doesn't just completely fall off the map. So I'll go Tyler O'Neill with my 5th pick.
At least 4.5. Like if he's a 250 hitter, that's still okay as long as the 30-10 is there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's got some more stuff in the chat here. Matt Lee, he says. Wheeler threw 45 pitches today and against the minor league squad that was scheduled to do the same Thursday. And his first start is tentatively scheduled for 4/12. So he's missing 1 start, and he should be able to go at least 75 pitches. So, yeah, you're not missing as much as we thought maybe a couple weeks ago, which is still kind of surprising as ADP hasn't creeped up a little more, like you said.
Yeah, because, I mean, like Verlander went ahead of him in this draft. Nola went ahead of him. I still prefer Wheeler to them. I can understand Giolito creeping up. He's healthy. I can understand. And then, Scherzer, I'm surprised because Scherzer's dealing with the hamstring. So they should be Scherzer should have came down in this draft more than anything, or Wheeler meet him. They should have maybe met up in the 3rd round together. But like right now, I'm not drafting Scherzer in the 2nd round. He doesn't even. He even said he's taking it day by day. He might miss a start or 2,
which makes me nervous because I have a lot of. If I was drafting the back end of a 12 or 15 and I wanted a pitcher early, I have a lot of Scherzer shares between a 1st or 2nd round pick, and I'm sitting there going, maybe I wish I would have had some. I wish I'd have known Giolito was doing what he was doing because those were before spring training started. I'm like, damn, there's that option. So it was either Woodruff or Scherzer. So I have a little bit of both. I love Woodruff quite a bit, but Scherzer's news. The thing is, it's like if anybody can get fixed on this and still put together an amazing season, it's not his arm. I'll take the hamstring.
Oh yeah.
Like I'll take the hamstring.
He deals with getting dinged up once in a while. It's not like it's a huge deal. It's just one of those things. It's like that now that we have this news, he should be falling. Now I wouldn't be too concerned if I don't actually have any Scherzer, but I almost drafted him. It was either him or Woodruff, but I just love Woodruff too much to pass on Woodruff for him. So I took Woodruff over him in my last draft. But Scherzer was very much in play if Woodruff went on the turn. So, and right now I'm thinking about it. If I'm not worried about Wheeler, I'm not worried about Scherzer. I think it's a very similar. That's why I said that they should be going closer together, one way or the other. But that's all. So I'm with you. I mean, I don't even have any shares, but I'm not concerned all that much.
And there goes JT Realmuto. In my, like I said earlier, I'll probably say it too many times on the show. This is kind of like I'm trying to do a few things different. Like I still have a lot of players I get, but I'm trying to do it different. I would have taken JT like almost every time in round that 5th pick, all the time. That's just my standard. But now I'm going to be like, okay, let's hold off. Maybe get Will Smith just went, so there goes that. But maybe get like a Wilson Contreras in a couple rounds or something. I still want to and if that doesn't work, then I'm just going to punt catching. I don't punt catching very often, but in a 12-teamer, I'm okay with it because I can find replacement catchers from time to time, like a lot easier than a 15. Yeah. So I'm willing to take that chance.
I've enjoyed taking, like I got my first Will Smith share the other day. I've been getting a lot of Dalton Varsho, but
real quick, while this is fresh in my head. So we saw Edwin Diaz go round 5, pick 7. We saw Ryan Precious go round 5, pick 10. Both over Emmanuel Clase. That surprises me quite a bit.
What is that about?
Clase, I have like as my him and Iglesias are like 3A, 3B for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hate to agree so much, but yes, I'm with you.
See, this is why I'm glad you're on because we can talk about the picks more instead of just me talking the whole time.
I didn't want to, but I'm gonna let you drop the names. I don't unless they've been picked. I can't. Your board's a little blurry on my screen. It could just be my eyes. I'm a little tired and staring at a screen all day.
Yeah, that's out of
there it
control.
is. There it is.
Clase. There you go.
But
so maybe someone's listening. No,
that's what I'm saying. I don't want to because I mentioned Iglesias' name and he went. You mentioned Clase's name, he went.
So there's Clase should have gone a round before that. Like that's
Iglesias and Clase fell a lot farther than I've seen them fall in a lot of drafts.
Yeah, like when we
in the 5th, like even in a 12, those guys go in the 3rd or 4th usually.
Clase's ADP the last 2 days, 21 drafts. 50 overall, min 39, max 62. He just went at 59. It was almost a new max pick for Class A.
Jeez, you gotta
That's
love that.
wild.
I'm looking at but going back to the catcher thing real quick is I've been enjoying getting one early like this. Like it's weird. I usually don't.
3 straight closers. Oh my goodness. Continue.
There it is. There's the run. The run happens in the 5th usually, but or in the 6th actually. It happens around this area, so it doesn't really surprise me. But I don't know, I'm just looking. I was the catcher thing. I've been torn. I've been anti-catcher for years, but then you have a lot of smart guys like Rob and Toby that are very pro catcher. Yep. And this year I'm like, all right, I'll make a point to at least get one good one. So I try to get one of my top 4. And that's why I was like, I paid up for Will Smith for the first time ever. And it just kind of threw off my draft because I'm almost ignoring the fact that he is as good as he is. Like, my head is like, oh, it's a catcher. Like I have a hard time understanding like a catcher can be special. It's it's just hard to imagine because I'm usually I'm big on waiting on catcher usually. So,
hey, are you a Joe Musgrove guy this season?
I got my FOMO share. I had
I have none. That's why I'm asking. I'm trying to see like, should I pull the pin here in the next 1 or 2 picks?
I got him in the 5th round yesterday. Yesterday, 2 days ago. I think it was yesterday. I drafted. It was the 5th round. I think I took him. He fell to me, and that's why I was like, I had a weird draft. I actually got a lot of I diversify a lot. I just do. I enjoy having cast a wide net and hope that I hit for the most part, but I don't know if I overdid it this year because I've realized I don't have a lot of steady shares of like a certain amount of people, unless it's DCs where I have like Matt Manning on all but one of them. I have Spencer Howard on every one of my DCs. That's where I have Roberto Perez on like majority of my DCs. Like those are my high rostered players. And I realized I have one Jazz, $3, and that's like one of my bigger higher end picks, like one of my bigger guys, like in terms of a top round guy that I have more shares of than most. But like, yeah, dude, I diversify. I almost wonder if I over diversify because I only played, I think I have 15 leagues this year, which isn't like a ton, but it's enough. But at the same time, it's like maybe I should have been maybe I shouldn't have been so like, hey, just all these players, yay. But now it's like, watch, I'm gonna have ones that hit, but they're not gonna be on the same team. It's gonna be like that's what I'm scared of.
Yeah, Casey, Webb just went. He said Webb's still out there. Webb went with pick 2 in round 6. So Webb just went, and they went Freed. I was debating taking Freed on the way back, but then I was looking through the queue, and like I said, I'm gonna be different because I would have taken Freed all the time too. And there's a few names that I'm like, okay, I could see taking some of these guys, so I'm looking at them in the next couple rounds. That could be interesting. But I want to ask you about Musgrove because I just don't see it with Musgrove, and there's some very smart people that love Joe Musgrove.
I think Eno has him top 10.
Yeah,
I think that's the big one. That's like when you say there's some smart people, it's Eno. There's an Eno bump involved.
Yeah, Casey says he sees Presley over Class A. He's more consistent than Class A, walks fewer guys, and plays on a better team. Feels more consistent than Class A, so he agrees with that. I'm curious with Presley. Last year he had a rough start to spring, and he's having it again with the velo, so maybe he'll be just fine. Maybe he's like a Greinke where it takes a while to get going, but we'll wait and see on that. And before anybody asks, I'm going to most likely have to take another middle infielder at some point in time because I have Bobby Witt. I drafted him to be my third baseman eventually, just in case anybody's curious. Like I'll fill the gap at third base later on, but the goal is to have him as my third baseman probably in the next week or so. That's
how long? What's the in season? Is it 10 games or is it 10 in season?
I think it's 10 in season.
I feel like we should know this. Like we I play almost exclusively. Yeah. I play. I've changed my route to being almost exclusive NFBC. I have 2 leagues outside of it this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty much all NFBC.
Yeah, but I enjoy that. I don't know.
I like it. I love their stuff. Their draft room is great. Their just overall experience is awesome. But we're about to get an interesting situation come up here because I'm 1 pick. George Springer just went. I was just about to say if he fell to me, I was like, oh, well, here we go again.
There's Mondesi, your favorite.
Yeah, I have no Mondesi, and I know I'm in a FOMO. And he just went, so that just saved me from having to do something really stupid. So I appreciate that. This is on brand, but it's funny because I don't have as much as him as people might think. So here's my other middle infielder, everybody, Mr. Jazz Chisholm. And
I'm surprised you don't have more.
Because most people that draft with me know I like him, and he goes sooner. So I'm going to get me some Jazzy Jazz because I'm a believer. I know there's been a lot of interesting conversations. I'm looking forward to Mike eating a shoe or something, whatever it is.
It wasn't me. That I actually was like, I don't buy that he's gonna hit where he's. I think Soler is actually gonna lead off. At first, I thought it was just getting reps, but we're like 4 days from the season, and Soler's still leading off. Jesus Sanchez is still batting in the middle of the lineup, which is awesome for him. But it's just one of those things. It's like that lineup. I don't understand why he's not leading off against righties, at least to start, just to see if he can just carry over this hot spring. Because at least the last I checked, he was having a really solid spring, but the strikeouts were still there, and that is concerning in spring because we know it's volatile with Jazz. But it's frustrating because I thought maybe, I think James Anderson sold me on him where I was like, okay, I got to have one share because me and him got into it it was actually off camera. Not got into it, but it was actually a really spirited discussion. Jazz has 9 strikeouts in 29 plate appearances. That's he's pretty much striking out 30% of the time right now in spring training. That's not what you want to see. That's like Keston Hero type of stuff, The difference is Jazz has those tools that can help.
You just beat me to it. Thank you for saying that.
What? Oh, the tools?
The Keston Hero part.
Yes. Yes. Well, because I'm aware that I was rooting for Hero, but the thing is the huge price difference, but anyway, I just think Jazz also has tools Hero doesn't in terms of like why he can outproduce the strikeout issues because, it goes back to Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill struck out at a 30% clip last year and still had the year he had. So in this day and age, strikeouts you're not going to be doomed, but you also have to have elite tools. O'Neill has elite speed and he had elite line drive skill and barrel rate and stuff like that. So if Jazz can be with elite with the line drive, get the line drives going, barrel the ball well, I think he can at least outproduce some of his expected stats, especially the batting average side of things. Yep. The counting stat, if he bats 5th, it's not that bad. This line, if you look at the Marlins lineup, it's quietly like solid. It's just, I think what it is it's boring. It's almost like bland. Like all through it, it's like there's depth, but there's no star. Chisholm's kind of the only star, but he's kind of buried, like I said, 5th, 6th in that lineup possibly to start the season. Yep. But I think that's not going to be as bad as you think, as many people think, because that lineup will be better than most people realize. And he's still going to run. He's not going to just stop running. So maybe ding the runs a little bit, obviously, if you're expecting him to lead off more. The RBI should be better, though. So there's give and take there. Just kind of have to reallocate his stats in your head. Like, well, he might be projected for this many runs because I doubt projections have factored in the fact that he's not leading off. You know what I mean?
I doubt
Which means, so if you're plugging this into a chart or a sheet as you draft, the runs might be higher than the RBI, and you have to wait a minute. But like you have Ozzy Albies who should hit towards the top of the lineup most days. Tim Anderson who's going to lead off. Like you have Bobby Witt's going to bat 2nd most likely. Mm-hmm. You're going to get plenty of runs. So Chisholm batting 5th actually fits your team better. Plus he brings more speed. So you should almost root for it.
I didn't pay him to say all this stuff, guys. Like this is just beautiful music to my ear stuff because it's just validation for months of trying to bang that drum. There goes Joe Musgrove.
And I've been anti Chisholm too. It's I'm pretty. I've been vocal, and I came around on him, but it was only I have one share, so I came in on him. I didn't want to miss out. I realized I was like, okay, let me not I could be out on somebody and realize I could be wrong, so I'm not willing to I don't want to miss that. I am upset I don't have more wit. I have I think one share, which is not enough. Yeah, but I don't have them in a big enough. I think it's a DC 50, so I'm not exactly happy, but I'll take it. It's better than being shut out.
Yeah.
There's another player I'm not going to mention, but there's another player or two I think we've talked about. I don't have any of. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get any before the season's over. Draft season's over. So
well, you'll have to mention their names when they get picked, just so people know.
Yes,
there goes Jorge Polanco. That's an interesting pick. I think he's a sneaky. Like he's been my fallback plan if I don't get Chisholm. I've been going with a lot of Polanco. I just don't believe the power is what we saw last year. He can replicate that. I think he's a little less than that, but that's just me. But with my next 2 picks, I got 2 more to get. Two. I'm on deck now. Gossman just went. My goal here is to get a starting pitcher and a closer with these next 2 picks. There goes Kenley Jansen. So I'm debating between Jose Barrios and Jordan Romano. And I said I'm doing the FOMO, and I like more starting pitchers to come. I like Barrios a lot. I'm gonna go with Jordan Romano here as my first closer. Round 7.
I'm gonna message you something here because I wanted to have a chance to plead. Hold on.
Just say it right now.
No, because they're not picked. I'm not gonna. I'm not saying a name. I don't think they are. I don't see them on the board. So I'm private chatting you.
Okay.
And we'll talk about. And it's actually a good talking point.
It's a great point. We could bring it up. I don't care.
Because I don't unless you're avoiding them altogether. Because
I'm not drafting Craig Kimbrell. He's asking about Craig Kimbrell. I'll bring it up.
Because I was curious why Kimbrell or why Romano over Kimbrell.
I'm nervous about his overall production and what he's just like. His min pick 64 too. His max picks 310. Obviously, he's traded yesterday, so max is a little off there. But I'm not in on Kimbrell right now. I'm nervous. I know he's a beast. I know he's great. I know he's on the Dodgers. He's probably going to get a ton of saves. But I'll take Romano over Kimbrell because I think his ratios will be much better than Kimbrell's. And we could see more strikeouts with Romano than Kimbrell. And I'll take my chances in that regard.
I understand being a little wary of the whole, like, once he got traded to the White Sox, kind of struggled. Obviously, spring hasn't been his friend, and we've seen kind of this roller coaster of Kimbrel. So it's easy to remember who he was. It's easy to remember what he did, and then but the in betweens, the bumpy in betweens, do get forgotten. But at the same time, Kimbrel was a guy that I think was falling in drafts, and it was so easy to get him as your 2 that now you have to pay the RP1 cost for him. So I get it. I was just curious because Romano. I have I think one early share of Romano. Oh, that's a mistake pick. I don't care what anyone says. I can't do it.
You know me too. Tommy Edman just went off the board with pick 8 of round 7. And if you guys have followed me enough, I've written articles about not drafting Tommy Edman. I know you have too. You've been banging the drum.
I haven't written any articles. I've saying I haven't written any articles. I've just been
it. You've covered it. Like we're on the same page here.
In January, sure. I found it. I victory lapped, if you want to call it that, because I was just like, hey,
there goes Kate Kimbrel. By
there
the way,
he is. I told you the second he gets brought up, someone's watching.
I don't care. Watch if that's how you want. If that's how you want to play against me in this league, knock yourself out. Like
it was worth bringing up because it's a good talking point. But if someone's watching. Kimbrel's he was buried. He's buried like 140ish in ADP, and you saw I typed another name in there because
I'm in on him. I'm 100% on him.
Yeah,
that's why I'm not mentioning him.
Yeah, I figured that's why I was
that one. Voldemort stays quiet over there.
Yes, okay. But that's why I brought up another name in general. I was like, this guy. What about him? Like, I like this guy.
I'm 100% on him. It might be one of those where I go starting pitcher next and then go back to that guy. That might be my double tap. Instead of going 2 closers really early, I might go these 2 guys here in the middle and walk away situation for a bit. That's 100% on the table. So I like him a lot. We will discuss him maybe the next round. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
Edmund, it was funny because I mentioned my thing was, and again, I called it like a victory lap because it kind of was, because I was like, hey, in January, I went through the rosters. I'm like, look, a lot's going to change, but here's my projected leadoff hitter for every team, every one of the teams. I was like, all right, cool. I'm just going to randomly drop these names, I think. And I was wrong about plenty because teams have changed. I said Swanson, and although he still could lead off, I'm not banking on it. I said Jazz. Oh, no, I said Rojas, actually. So I guess fading Jazz was actually right, even if it was with the wrong guy, because they didn't have half their roster that they have now, the Marlins. But regardless, you get my point. Like, I got some wrong, but then real quick,
I'm going to hold you there for a second. So at pick 84 right now, Lance Lynn just went. His ADP over the last couple days was 68, min of 56, low of 85. So he just missed a new max pick with Lance Lynn. That one I was wondering when he would go. That one surprised me a little bit.
I'm surprised he fell. I have to pull. I still haven't pulled up my draft. I think Witt went later than I'm remembering, but I do remember Lynn falling. Because I was like, if he fall, like I took a couple of pictures. I'm like, if he falls to me, I might have to one of those like I'm gonna have to alter what I'm doing, because I thought that I'm not out on Lynn, so I was like, I'll take him and then just figure it out from there. But yeah, I ended up not. Obviously, you don't know that, I guess, but I didn't take him. Instead, I ended up getting Logan Gilbert a few rounds later for crap.
Well, no, that's fine. You can say him. He's definitely a FOMO guy for me. So
I've been doing so good. I hate slipping.
No, I don't care. Like, I'm broadcasting something live. Like, I'm already at the risk of whatever the hell happens, and I'm here. This is for the listeners. I'm gonna feel confident no matter how I draft. Like, if I don't get Logan Gilbert, I don't get him. Like, I don't even have him in my queue right now.
I did good. I did good typing the other guy though. That's way. That guy's actually
typing in there if you want.
I'll keep typing in there instead of saying names aloud.
You know what's funny? We'll see if this guy's really listening because he's on deck. Jose Barrios is still there, Hummel. Jose Barrios is still there. Are you listening to me? Are you going to take him?
But he has 2 starters. Who would take him?
He's taken 2 guys we've talked about so far. So let's see if he's really listening.
No, there it is. India.
No, the guy at the break now is the one.
I'm on a delay then. I'm looking at your board. I'm watching your board. Your board's on a delay. Okay.
Okay, yeah, because Hummel's on the clock now.
Because I just saw India go. Just son of a gun.
Jose Barrios, there it is. Yep, maybe he's listening.
There's no way. There's no way.
He's 3 for 3 now on names we've mentioned. That's good. That's good stuff. So I guess we're gonna have to start muting things now. That's good. Okay, well, I have a dude circled that I didn't kind of think Barrios was gonna make it to begin with, but I have a guy circled I have 0 shares of, and I know people like Jeff Erickson and others are huge fans of him. So
I don't know who it is. So we'll see.
I'm thinking I'm going to have to jump on this one. And we'll see how this one goes, because this could be a lot of fun if he falls to me. I've been kind of
someone in your comments said Lynn was taken out early tonight. I didn't see that. And you know me, I've been reading a whole bunch of news stuff tonight.
Yeah, you've been sharing stuff a ton.
I'm like, I went through and mined. I did my own mining the news this evening. I was like, I got some downtime. Let me go read some stuff.
Let's see. I just good old Twitter. Lance Lynn.
I'm gonna search his name.
Trade one nothing. I'm searching him and I haven't seen anything yet. Nope. It just said he is not having an ideal start is a headline I saw. Lance Lynn is so awful. Pulled with 2 outs in the second inning. He likely re-entered in the third. He's just not pitching good, it looks like. I don't know if he's actually hurt or not. And here we are. I'm on the clock, and I'm going to take him. My first share, Alek Manoah. This is a guy I'm pretty pumped on. I don't have any because I was like nervous. Is he going to have the innings? Is he not? Like, where are we going to go with this? But again,
did you see my FOMO list? He was on there. A guy I have none.
I did not say it. Now I have one. And he threw 111 innings last year. He's got the build. Maybe I'm just overthinking this. If he can creep up to like 150, go like Freddie Peralta style, this could be a monster season for Manoah. So I'm going to take my chances there with Mr. Alek Manoah. We'll see how that one pans out.
I'm intrigued. I'm definitely in on I'm in on him without it's one of those things that I can be in on a player and not have any shares because I just never wanted to pay the price. It's gonna suck because it's like, well, if I was in on him, that technically I guess I can't say I'm in on him if I don't have him. I admit that much. That's fine. I like the idea of him. I'm rooting for him. And that's another thing. I genuinely root for players to do well because it's good for baseball. But I'm just hoping that my teams just perform better. I root for everybody. I root for my teams more. That's how I look at it.
And that's a fair assessment. That's for sure. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Ryan Reynolds, good. I love that guy.
He's a guy I have none of. That's one guy that I'll probably regret big time
especially if he gets traded.
Yeah. He's going to be a tough one. Well, I know who my next pick's going to be if he falls. This will be a team
Tatis.
Pick. Tatis just went.
I can't do
it. Pick 94 overall. Let me pull up. I got the ADP page out here for reference. His over the last 2 days, men 40, pick 191, ADP 88. So it's in range with where he's been going. I can't do it either. I can't do it because I'm even worried when he comes back. Do they let him run? Like, what do we do? Kershaw's a sneaky pick. He's been kind of on my FOMO list.
Because he's the only one staying healthy out of the. I guess him and Verlander are the guys that came back and are kind of healthy. Like, I read something else I read about him, but I didn't want to over analyze it or read too much into it. But when I got the Kimbrel quote, there was also something in there. It was actually an article about Kershaw. Now, I think Mark Pryor, the pitching coach, was saying, which is weird to say. I'm assuming it's the same Mark Pryor, the Cubs Mark Pryor.
Pretty sure it is. Yes.
I mean, that's not a very common name in baseball circles, but anyway, he was saying. God, that makes me feel old. I was a kid. I used to love Mark Pryor.
No, Casey, that's not who I'm talking. I'm talking about a hitter, not a pitcher. I'm done with pitchers right now.
Oh, I'm surprised. Okay, now I'm intrigued.
Yeah, this is a Team Bubba pick. Like people that listen to me and follow me enough. This is one, and it won't be his men pick. That's for sure. It'll be 4 picks off his men pick.
But. Tatis. We were talking about Kershaw, and they pretty much. I think he said something along the lines of any pitcher's 1 pitch away from like something. I'm like, wait. Are you guys that concerned about him? Or is it...
Petroziello took Reese. That was the guy I was going to take.
Was he?
That's a smart. He listens to my shows all the time, so that was smart move, Dan. Smart move, Dave. You did well there. You got me. So that means I might go with my catchers discussion we talked about earlier. I might go Wilson Contreras here because he's one of the catchers. The power, and he actually can steal you some bags. He kind of intrigues me a little bit. I'm
just gonna bring up the guy that I put in the chat again, just to remind you that that's there too.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Let me see something real quick before I get dumb on this one. But yeah, you're probably right. I probably should go that route real quick. Yeah, because his men pick just passed, so he won't make it back to me. Yeah, we're gonna go that route because I'm a huge fan of him. So let me cue him up here. Yep. Let's see how that goes. We are going to go with. Well, I'm going to wait 26 seconds before I say anything else and see what happens since Hoskins just disappeared. Petroziello just typed in the chat here in the NFC. Sorry, Bubba. Right after he picked Hoskins, because he knows 100%. So that's that was funny. Hopefully he listens to this episode tomorrow or Monday. He'll know I'm talking about him because I had him all queued up. His Hoskins' min was 97, so Petroziello got him at 99. Or 98. He almost set them in. But I'm going to go with the man you're talking about, my second closer, Taylor Rogers of the Minnesota Twins. Big fan of what he can do there. I think he's getting underappreciated as my closer, too. Now I can kind of wait on closers for a while. So yeah, that's who we were talking about. Rogers, Mono. I think I still have 2 elite closers without having to break the bank for elite closers. That's how they're towards the end of like that tier of kind of comfortable actions kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. Rogers has been a guy that I'm 2 for 2 in my. I did 2 OCs, and he was my second closer in both of them because I did view him as a guy that was going to. Especially the thing is after the Twins decided to do a complete 180 and go for the playoffs, all out of nowhere, it went from being okay, Rogers is probably on his way out to wow, Rogers is a great value, and everybody else climbed up draft boards but him. Like you saw Trinan move up, you saw other guys like that move up, way up, but he never did. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've been targeted. I think I took him in the 8th both times, and you got him in the middle of the 9th. So that's kind of a nice little. I have to go again. I have to go look exactly where I got him. I'm trying to pull up my shares though. I forgot why I'm trying to find like my most rostered higher end guy. I was curious because again, I'm just so diversified that I'm upset. I'm almost upset I over diversified. Like
there goes Christian Yelich, pick 103 overall. I just can't do it. I have 0 Yelichs,
4 outfielders for that team already.
Fell forever. I just couldn't do it anymore.
That team has 4 outfielders already too. That's kind of early. I mean, not that you should. I mean, you need 5. I get that, but
there's
4,
so many later. There's so
4
many
through
later
9
outfielders, man. So many later outfielders.
Excuse me. Sorry.
There goes Shane McClanahan at pick 104 for Casey, who was asking about McClanahan, so he just went.
I'm so excited about McClanahan. Like I'm rooting for him so well because he kept falling as an SP3 for me in 15s, and I would always take him because I'm a big. I can't say their name because I know you actually. I'm glad I didn't because I know you like this guy. Don't know how you feel about him in this format, so I'll type his name. But got a lot of this guy, and this is why I would usually take this person.
Yeah. Duh.
I thought so. Instantly. So
you know what's scary? And again, we'll let you guys know the secret when he's picked. There goes Bregman. I was going to ask you about him, but I don't have many shares because more people love him this year than last year because I had him everywhere last year. Everywhere.
It was weird. So, and if you were drafting early, I know you were. So he was kind of higher, dropped, and I think he's kind of settling like in between of like started up high, ended up here, and then kind of came back up. I don't know. I wrote him up recently, and I was like, because I haven't been doing a lot of player analysis writing ever since spring training started. I couldn't imagine why, and not busy doing anything else at all. Right? Because I gotta. Dude, honestly, I love doing it, but man, am I ready for it to be over? Because it's every day.
You'll find.
Well, nope. I told you, I'm done. I'm hyper focused. I already promoted what I'm doing in season. I am doing something daily in season. It's just
Montas. That's good.
The chart itself takes about like an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. Like if I was just doing a daily write up of notes on lineups, that wouldn't be more than maybe an hour. The longest, sometimes just what takes long is actually getting lineups released.
By the way, we just got Frankie Montas at pick 107. That's his new max over the last couple of days.
I love the idea. I love Montas skill set wise. It's the team context. What is he gonna get? Like 8 wins if we're lucky?
I guess you draft him assuming he's gonna get traded. Like he almost got traded the last couple of days. Like every other day, it seems like someone's trying to trade for him right now.
It's one of those things that I find it weird that you almost forget that baseball just started like 2.5 weeks ago, like kind of, and now we're almost starting the season. That's why the Kimbrel I gave up on Kimbrel getting traded. I had a lot of early Kimbrel. I moved off of it because I was like, oh, this is not good. I need to get off this train now. And now it worked out for me. So my early drafts, like I had to draft one of my DC 50s because I did some of those to get ready for this because 12-teamer concept. I got my 2 closers at one point were Will Smith, and my only Will Smith share was that team, and Craig Kimbrel. I'm like, well, good thing I have Matt Barnes. That was Matt Barnes for like a couple weeks was my top closer. Now I have Kimbrel back.
I don't mind Matt Barnes. Not as my top closer, but I don't mind Matt Barnes.
I know, but he was my third. He was my third guy, and at 50, and now then he turned.
I don't mind that.
And then, but then he turned into my top guy after one guy wasn't traded, and the other guy wasn't, no longer the closer anymore because Kenley came on. So it's like. Yeah. I was like, oh crap! But luckily, again, so I just got bailed out because that team was hurting for a closer.
So Blake Snell just went after Frankie Montas, and I'm a big Montas fan. I have a handful of shares. I'm like all in, but Snell I have none of, and I get so I don't know. I know how he finished the season. It was great. We saw kind of a pitch mix change for the better. We saw the velo look a little better.
He attacked the zone more. That's kind of what he needs to do.
It's just, can he continue that? Are we going to get 6 innings every start out of him? I haven't seen consistency since the Cy Young year. I can't trust it right now. There goes Jacob deGrom at pick 109, first pick of round 10.
I'm surprised.
My goodness. There goes Wilson Contreras.
Then I think I saw someone tweet. I think it was Yancey had tweeted that He went 2 something in a main or something.
DC. He's doing
DC. Yeah, thank you.
But like over the last 2 days, the max pick on DeGrom was 280. He just went a 110. Like
I'm willing to let someone else, especially in a 12, let somebody else hold him. Because
I was never going to draft him.
You're waiting 4 weeks just for the MRI to be taken. That doesn't include if it's okay. He has to ramp up. Now, don't get me wrong. 4 months of DeGrom, assuming that he doesn't have another setback throughout the season, which is a hard assumption to take at this point because he couldn't even get through spring training. But DeGrom, we're talking 4 months of DeGrom. That's still league winning, especially at pick 100.
Dirty.
That is a good pick.
I wasn't going to take another picture yet, but I was staring at him. I'm like, he's coming up.
Bassett and Eovaldi, I really like those picks right there.
Okay, I'm afraid to mention a name, but I kind of want to
don't mention it. Type it. Don't mention it. Type it.
Yeah, but this is for the listeners here.
I understand, but Bubba, it's not like I'm sorry, but like
I just typed it to you.
You don't have to. They just went.
Oh, literally as I typed it. Yes,
I guess
as I typed
he just
went. Yeah, he just went. In the chat here, Casey just posted that James Fagan on Twitter, he's a beat reporter for the White Sox. Lance walked off the mound gingerly and is being looked at by a trainer. He's leaving the game. Thank you, Casey. I appreciate that. That's
really good info, man. Thanks.
Yeah, now I'm kind of glad I dodged that bullet. So now I'm on the clock or on deck here, and I'm hoping this big bat in a big ballpark where balls like to fly.
I swear, as soon as you said big bat, the name crossed my mind. I think I know who it is.
I'm hoping he doesn't get picked here because that would make me very angry, Burnett. That's all I'm going to say. Make me very angry since Petroziello took my other boy already. So, and in the chat here, I'm not going to tell all the trade secrets, but
big bat, but not the one you wanted.
Nope. But someone else in the chat said they were going to take DeGrom with their next pick, so he was going that round, which is.
I'm kind of surprised. I don't like to call people like it's not. That's who. So you said big bat, and
CJ
you
Chrome.
obviously
come on down, CJ. Down.
When you said big bat and you said the ball likes to fly out of the park, I'm like, obviously, I know. And I already had an idea, and the reason why I even had an idea was because you missed out on Hoskins. I figured you were looking at first base now.
100%. Because for me, it's like I want Hoskins, Kerland, Bell. I want one of those three. Then that next group of first basemen that I like a lot, I want as my corner infielder. I don't want them as my starter. I don't. If worst comes to worst, I'm okay with the Vottos of the world. That whole grouping.
Votto, man.
I love him. I love him as my corner infielder. But if he has to be my first baseman, that's fine. I just kind of prefer to go a different direction per se.
Why do I have such a hard time finding
Miles Straw? That's a guy I have no shares of.
And I have no FOMO or shares, and that's fine.
Exactly. Let me be very clear. No FOMO either.
A great. So Zach's been put. Waxman. He has the draft champions pod, and it's been really wacky lately. Like to a point where it's like, what's going on? I can't follow. But he had the War Dog on tonight, and it was actually a really good listen. And I hate to say actually, because his pod has its moments. Like there's times where I love it when he had Phil on and other guests, and there's times where it's like, dude, I text him, I'm like, I can't listen to this. I can't follow along. I lose track of what's happening. But anyway, trying to get back on track here, they mentioned Straw and how neither one. I think they were both talking how they don't like building around him, which was kind of cool to hear Zach finally talk about players. Now that I think he's finishing up his drafts a little bit. I know he's not done.
Now he's all done.
But he
and the thing, Dansby, by the way.
Yeah, see, I was in, and now I'm just kind of like, all right, let somebody else do. Ooh, see, I'm so intrigued by Muncy because the whole. I know that it's hard to comp him to Ohtani, but at least you've seen a track record of a player recently play through TJ for a whole season.
Ooh, good Lourdes Gurriel pick Petro. I was looking at him right there. See, Petro listens to too much of my content. This is not good. This is not good. I got a FOMO pick coming up. This could be fun. I have no shares. But
real quick about Straw, though. They mentioned how having Straw is such a detriment to power that people are always saying, oh, you can make up power. In order to make up that power, you have to take Straw out of your lineup because you have to fill that spot with power. You can't fill the power on your util because you probably already have somebody hitting for power on your util. So yeah, unless Straw gets you a huge edge in stolen bases early on and you can take them out, you can't fix the power problem. Because you're
a follower of mine was DMing me asking some questions about adding and dropping certain players on his waiver wire, and he showed me his roster, and I said, well, drop Miles Straw. And he said, well, I wanted steals. I said, well, he's on your bench, so what's he giving you steals for? And he's like, well, I thought I'd put him in from time to time. I said, if you're not going to start him every day, you shouldn't keep him. Let's just put it that way. So,
yeah, and it's hard because, like, honestly, we could be wrong, and that's another thing. You have to remember, we're giving our best educated advice. I want to make sure I put that out there because we're gonna be right more than we're wrong, but people will remember what we're wrong for. That's all they remember. So
yeah,
I think you're right. I agree with that analysis you gave. By the way, I don't know if that's worth much to anybody listening, but I agree with Bubba on that call. It's just one of those things.
It's just like you can't like pick and choose with a guy that's going to try to steal bags. That's just my 2 cents. You're going to end up mad more than you're right. The same with like closers. Like I said at the very beginning before you came on with the try-and question, it's like if you keep him on your roster and you're playing for 3 weeks, he gets you no saves. You're like, oh, this sucks. You bench him. Next thing you know, he's going to get you all the saves. You're just like, well, this really sucks. That's what they do. That's what they do. So here's a FOMO pick. I'm taking him a little early. I'll be honest here. But, I only have one outfielder, and I love the power from this individual. I feel like I'm okay with batting average. I got a pretty good steals base right now, and I'll get some more steals later because I have some targets I like in the steals department. But Hunter Renfroe, come on down. Hunter Renfroe, come on down. I might regret that one, but 12-team league, I'm willing to take the chance on Renfroe.
I'm trying to think who. Oh, wait, you know what? There is somebody I would have liked more, and I think they're still there. I'll type it in.
I probably have them highlighted, so type them in. Go for it. So this is where I just sit and fill my queue up. I tell people this anytime they ask questions. I said just in between picks, just go through and fill up your queue and then navigate your queue. It makes it so easy. Like I'll have 30, 40 dudes in my queue at a time.
I did that at the end of a draft and it screwed me because I put Rojas at the top of my. Oh crap! I just said the name. I said a name, but it's not even a good name for a 12-teamer anyway. But I'm dropping him. I actually picked him ahead of somebody else, like by like almost like 50 picks, and I'm actually looking to drop him this Sunday already because he just doesn't fit. I don't need that skill set. It's kind of like media. It's more of a DC skill set. I typed the other name.
The name you typed, I was looking at him, very similar to Renfroe.
Exactly, and I think I like him more.
I think I trust Renfroe's batting average more. But it's a great comp. I'm not going to argue that one. And I was looking at him, and he's fallen quite a bit in this draft.
That's why I looked real quick. I'm like, I don't see him, and I like him. Still. I personally like him more.
And we're not talking about Cody Bellinger, people. I'll give you that one there.
You don't want Cody?
He says, "Are we in the Bellinger zone?" What gave it away? I'd rather draft Cody Bellinger than Gavin Lux. If that makes you feel any better. I'll throw that name out there.
Why are those names even in the same conversation?
There goes Jesse Winker. Well, certain people think Lux is the next Greek god. So
we've talked about this. I know. I'm swerving, man. I'm completely swerving. You know my stance on it. We can talk about it. But...
Real quick, the name that you typed me, and again, people, we'll reveal the name when they're picked. But would you have gone Winker over that individual?
Not anymore. Not with the move to the park. Yeah. I was a huge Jesse Winker guy. For me, Winker would have been where like in that range where you took Crone, probably like in that I would have considered Winker with Crone just because I thought like I would have just probably taken Winker first. I trusted the batting average a little more, but I actually have Crone quite a bit. But anyway, yeah, I Winker would have been a round or two ahead of where he's going. I'm upset. Oh, there goes the guy. Anyway, that I typed to you.
Yeah, Mitch Haniger. That's who we were talking about. He was comparing Mitch Haniger to Hunter Renfroe. I think it's a very good comp. A very good comp.
I think they're very similar. I just trust Haniger more because I've seen him do it more than once. Renfroe kind of put it all together last year.
But Haniger hasn't stayed healthy till last year.
Well, you can't. I mean, the dude
freak
lost
injuries. He got hit by.
He lost a testicle. Yeah. Like he legitimately lost a testicle.
I probably wouldn't play either if that was the case. I get it.
But they'd never play again.
Yeah, but it's just you got to look at some of the facts of life here, and that's where we're sitting. So. We'll see. It might be one. And Haniger's 100% a FOMO guy. I have none. And usually, it's because there's no stolen bases, and then I say that, and then I take Renfroe. But I like my base, and there's a bunch of guys coming up that I like
Haniger.
For steals. So.
I finally was able to pull up my shares. I have 2 Haniger and 2 Winker, and I would have had more Winker had the whole like him not getting traded thing happen because I was I have so many players 2, 3, 1. Like I don't have. I told you I overdid it. I over diversified, but it also comes with playing different formats, 15s versus 12s. I think that's where the diversification really hit. I
that
only
changes
have
a lot of things in drafts. Like when we give our players shares, it's a great point because that really changes a lot of things we do.
I only have 6 players. I only have 6 players with 50% rostership or more.
There goes Bellinger. There goes Bellinger at the end of round 11.
They can have him.
So
is that the DeGrom? That's the DeGrom guy.
The individual, I was going to say, that just drafted Cody Bellinger also has drafted Jacob DeGrom.
That the thing is, those in OCs
Shooting for the moon.
in OCs, you like the take. You don't make a lot for winning your league. Not that you shouldn't want to win it. You still like quadruple your money. It's like not like you don't win anything, but it's the overall. You're going for the overall with these. Like DCs, you get a good amount of money back for winning your DC compared to what you put in, and obviously the DC overall isn't nearly as big. But for OCs, I was taught, like, people were like, "Hey man, you really got to shoot." That's why I told you Jazz wasn't a target of mine most of the time, but in a DC I was like, that's the perfect place. Buxton, I was in on. I was like, let me definitely get him in one of mine. See, I only have 3 Buxton, but I have 3 Buxton. I feel like I have more, but for me, 3 is a lot. I have 3 Crone. I have 3 Lau.
I just typed you my next pick because it's an overall. I want this individual next.
Yeah, and we could talk about something that's very intriguing about him too. Assuming you get him, I'm obviously not going to mention it.
Yeah, I'm a big favorite. If anybody follows me, you'll know who it is the second I pick him because it'll all make sense of what I'm saying. But it'll be his new men pick. Let's put it that way. We're gonna dance.
Yeah, and I have a fun comp for you with this one.
I just hope it's not negative. That's all I know.
No. It's a fun one. As in, like, I could see this guy.
Yeah.
I could see this guy being this type of player without the cost. So it's a good comp.
I'm going to mention a player's name, and it might go against me. What?
Why do you do this to yourself? You're
because I'm not going to push the envelope because it looks like he's not starting the season in the majors anyways. That's Julio Rodriguez.
Okay, that's one of the names,
which is criminal. MLB Dream. He's a very, very smart analyst, very good at betting, and he comped him to a future Ronald Acuna Jr. Thoughts? I can see it potentially. That's a big comp.
Yeah, you know who else was comped to something similar was Lewis Brinson. Like, that's what scares me.
Yep.
Brinson was supposed to be the next big thing, and it just doesn't always pan out. And I hate, like, not that it's hard to. It's apples to oranges. I get it, but it's frustrating because I understand the fun thing about the good thing about the way the game's going is that it's easier to foresee how a prospect's going to turn out. So that's kind of cool. Like, I think there's more, you can have more confidence in that compared to before back in the day. Yeah. But it's still something I don't want to, like, it's still something I feel like that's risky to make that comp, but it's not like I can't see it. I totally can.
It's an interesting group of picks that just went. Cronenworth, Willie Adames, who's banged up, Chris Taylor.
He played today, so yeah, I think he's fine.
But Cronenworth, Chris Taylor, kind of like a Spider-Man gif. And then Andrew Kittredge, who the buzz, he's popping up because the Fairbanks news. Like, I get it, he's awesome, and he should be the closer one in Tampa, but that's still it's dicey with some of the potential closers still on the board. This is why I went Romano Rogers early to avoid that situation, basically.
And that's why, that's why I did the same thing. Like, especially, I guess I should probably sort, because I'm looking at my rostered, and it's like Seth Beers up there. Varsho is my most rostered catcher. I have 4 shares, which is a lot. Like, that's for me, that's 33% of my leagues of Varsho. So he's already gone. That's the only reason why I'm mentioning him. But I have got, you know who I have a lot of from early drafts, and he's not going to be drafted. Andrew Stevenson. I can talk about him.
You can talk all you want about him.
Yeah, that's why I brought him up. I mean, there's a guy that you and I both love. There's 2 guys, and I've already named one in the chat, so I'll name the other one, and I'm sure you'll be looking at. But he's one of those guys that's I have rostered in a lot of leagues as well.
All right, here's my men pick, Joe Adell. I absolutely love Joe Adell. He's actually going to make the team now because they got rid of Upton, so there's no questions. He's actually hitting this spring. He's a prospect that is taking longer to figure it out, but he's still figuring it out. I think this is a legit 2020 guy with, if things go bonkers, could get you like 25 or better. Like, I love Joe Adell, at least power-wise, maybe not the steals, but he's got more speed than people give him credit for. So,
well, here's the thing, the encouraging thing.
I agree with what you mentioned, by the way.
Yes, I know you do. You and I are very, very, 2 of the guys I put in this chat, which we'll bring up both of them when they get picked. And both the guys, like, you and I have been very, very big on. Anyway, the Adell comp is like a Chisholm. Like, I don't see much of a difference in the potential for volatility, but the potential for upside in terms of power speed. So, and Adell, the big thing that caught my attention from him this spring, which makes me wish I had more, which actually I thank Zach, because he's the reason why we have him in the tag team, because I was out on him. Adell stole 3 bases in spring. If you're going to look at anything, and 0 caught stealing, by the way. And the reason why that matters is because he's running when it doesn't matter. So I'm assuming that not only does he have a green light, but he obviously has the intent to run. Maybe that'll carry over.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that one bit. I think it's a a good comp actually. Like there's definitely a floor with the Chisholm or an Adele, but there goes Julio Rodriguez at the end of round 12. I don't disagree with trying for him. It's just we saw what they did with Kalinick last year, and I'm just nervous, very nervous. But
Kalinick, he just went right before him too.
Yeah, that's an interesting back and forth. But Julio Rodriguez and Eduardo Rodriguez went back to back to the same person. So get your Rodriguez on there, folks.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is going to be fun, my next pick. I'm kind of going back and forth here in round 13.
I like that Gilbert pick.
Yeah, kind of wanting to get a catcher here. And I'll just say the two names because I'll get one of the two unless people are really listening.
Well, you have two people. You might want to wait one pick because they both don't have one. So
I'd be shocked if one of these goes right now. I'd be like, oh, you son of a. But no, they did not go. So Tyler Stevenson and Mitch Garver. Like Stevenson better batting average, Garver better power.
I was about to type Garver. I was about to type Garver into the.
I'm tempted to take Garver in the upside there in Texas. That's really where I'm tempted to go. But so you go Garver over Stevenson.
I don't know how to feel about Stevenson. Let me look up his stats. I just want to know if he's going to fall into the power because we know it's there. The dude's like 6'4", 250. He's built like a brick house, but he's doing what he like right now in spring training. And I'm not looking for. I just want to see if the power is showing up. He's batting 364, but with 2 doubles, no home runs. So out of his 8 hits, so he's not like the extra base hits are kind of there, but he's not showing any form of power again, and that's frustrating because I think what with Stevenson is 50% ground ball rate.
Yep,
I know if he could just elevate a little bit, we'd be good. But I don't know, man.
Yeah, like Mitch Garver. I'm on the clock. We're going Garver.
I don't know how I feel about Stevenson. Like I obviously the batting average is there, and from a catcher, that's very valuable. He's going to play a lot. He's in a great ballpark, and he hits for a great average. Stevenson does, but I almost feel like Garver's kind of like the fun upside play.
You know who's falling a ton in drafts, and I'm going to say because I'm not going to draft them, but 2 guys are still sitting there. Ryan Mountcastle and DJ LeMahieu are both falling a ton.
Keep them both. You can have both. I have 0 shares and no FOMO, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, they are dropping a ton right now. Like I understand Flaherty falling, Will Smith, I get it, those make sense, but Mountcastle and DJ falling quite a bit it's a bit surprising to me, to be honest. So
I wonder if the narrative is getting out there about DJ because I know I get a lot of pushback, but I've been pushing hard with that whole. I think DJ is just gonna.
How are people pushing back when you're legit showing them this is? There goes DJ right there. When people like you're legit showing them how the lineups are being built. It's like, okay, where's he play? Like, explain it
every day. The thing is though, it's just my argument is the bat's probably still as good as ever. I don't think he's having but there is a chance he's like what I always forget his age. He's like 32 or 33. I don't remember exactly how old he is, but the reason why it doesn't matter is because what we saw last year is kind of who he is. Like, there's a chance LeMahieu, he's 33 years old. He's batting 182 this spring. There's a chance he finally hit the cliff.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Obviously, I'm not going to bank on 24 plate appearances, but LeMahieu also played through injury last year.
Yeah.
He's not, and Torres is actually hitting very well in spring, and he actually has well, damn it.
No, you're fine.
I'm not supposed to say names, but it's one of those things. It's like I guess what I'm getting at is he's not outperforming him, and Torres has nowhere else to play. Torres has already been said to be the backup catcher, like that. I mean, not catcher. That would be very intriguing. Backup shortstop, and we all know how atrocious Torres is at shortstop. So ultimately, I think LeMahieu is the outside looking in, but I think LeMahieu is going to still play 5 days a week just because he's going to bounce around from third to second to first, giving all these guys days off as they rotate through the DH and stuff. However, maybe they sit him twice a week, and now you're looking at a guy who compiles, who's not going to be getting the stats because he's not compiling enough. And it could be a way because the Yankees want to keep everybody healthy. If LeMahieu's not playing 150, he's not valuable to a fantasy team.
Bingo. That's the thing with him. He has to accumulate it, like you said.
But the Yankees do tend to deal with injury, so there's a clear path to him getting there. Yeah. But it would have to be via Donaldson, I guess, because you have which
would be Rizzo, crazy. But I guess you hope not hope, but you're relying on the injuries basically,
or significant underperformance. Either way, you're rooting for something negative for him to kind of get everyday plate appearances. Because IKF, as gross as it is, IKF is still the best shortstop on this team, and this is a team who doesn't need to force offense.
Let's have some fun with this real quick. Now you mentioned IKF because it brought up another thought. So like Higashioka is crushing it right now.
Sorry, see, I told you I don't know if you wanted Torres.
I wasn't going to go for Torres. You're fine.
Okay.
I already have too much middle infield.
Fair.
Higashioka's crushing it this spring, but like we've seen him in the past, he's Cole's personal catcher, like blah 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 blah. But
so fun.
It's Rortvert, or they just traded for Trevino from Texas.
Yeah,
which it's like, as boring as it sounds, Trevino could probably play 3 to 4 days a week. Like, it legit could happen. So that situation in New York is a mess. There goes Mountcastle, which is fine. Wasn't going that direction either. So
what is your reason? I knocked Mountcastle down right before. It was actually right before we got news of the fences, and then I dropped him even more. And I just can't get behind it, because if he goes from being a 32 to like a high 20s home run guy, that's enough for me to be like, well, there's middling average. So personally, it's like I just don't see the huge appeal. That's why. But are you kind of in the same line of thinking with him?
Yeah, like I like Mountcastle a lot, but like when you dig into what he did last year, he ran pure, like real pure. Like the pull percentages, the home runs per barrels, like all that kind of stuff. He ran real pure. And not saying he couldn't do it again. Maybe he's just one of those guys that outperforms metrics or whatever. But where you're having to take him at ADP was kind of asking a lot. Now getting him around pick like 155, that's a better conversation probably. But it's like, that's a little tricky. So, yeah, I'd probably avoid that one. But I have a fun corner infield position coming up here potentially in 3 picks if it's still sticks around. Are you seeing who I'm seeing?
I'm hoping I'll type it now because I was gonna ask, because
type it to you.
Yeah, like here it is. Yeah, that's also exactly, and we'll talk about that in a second, because
if he
I don't even want to hint at who or what it is.
Well, it'd be really interesting, because this would be a fall from grace. Let me just to get prepped for this conversation, because it's either even if he gets picked, I'll mention it. But yeah, we're past ADP, and this will be a new max pick. Even if he's taken before me, I guess is a new max pick.
The good thing, if you look before you, is it could be favorable to happen.
Yeah,
maybe.
Let's hope so.
Maybe.
Let's hope so. Maybe they'll listen to the show.
Fingers crossed. Okay.
They're taking their time. Well, we got one more pick to go. McMahon, I love. That wasn't who I was going to take, but I love Ryan McMahon. So dirty. Yeah, he's fun. The previous max pick on this individual was 160. Men 126, ADP of 140 over the last 2 days. At pick 164, Joseph Votto will be my corner infielder this year. Like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't going to target Joey Votto, but the fact he fell to me right there, it's one of those, like, yeah, we're taking Joey Votto right now. He's
interesting. I was looking at, again, spring stats don't matter. He's not having a great spring, but it's Joey Votto. I'm not worried. I just like to look at spring stats. I think they're fun. I did hear that, I think it was Eno mentioning that there is some stickiness to OPS in spring in some cases. There was a study done, apparently, but this isn't a typical spring training either. So I don't know how much you could take away from a shortened spring training if you're already having issues finding how sticky OPS can be in a spring training. I don't think there's a lot of, anyway, it doesn't matter. Votto is a guy that I have ranked, I think, top 10 at the position. Like, I have him, I've been wanting, I have him with Cronin Bell. So when he falls, I usually like, okay, cool, I'll take Votto. That's just my personal. I've always been really high on him this offseason.
I'm pretty happy with that pick, actually. Like I said, I wasn't going to target him. It wasn't a goal of mine to target him, but to see him fall to that situation, I'm a big fan of that whole deal there. And I want to ask you a question on a pitcher right now, but I don't think it's a good idea.
Type it. We have the private chat, man.
Yeah, but
that Rosario's a guy I'm 2 for 2 in OCs. I have 4 guys I'm 2 for 2 in OCs with. He's one of them.
I just typed you something.
I saw. I'm looking right at it. I don't know. Let me double check.
See if you can find something on that, because I know there was this starter sharing him. I'm curious right now, because if he's good to go, that's my next pick. Let's just put
last I checked, I believe he was. I'm just trying to. It's giving me a hard time here. Let me see. I always just go.
I'm just gonna look if he has any spring stats. That'll answer that question for me.
Here I got.
He does. He's made 1 appearance. I guess we'll see how that
goes. I just sent you. He's supposed to make his debut. I gave you the date.
Okay. That could be a 2-start pitcher then. Let's go. That just got really interesting now.
There's a
all to me. 2 picks to go. Come on. I gave away half the clue, people. I said 2-pitch pitcher. So you got that much going for you. And it's not Zach Gallen who just got picked at pick 3. But see, there's Petrozello. He picks Andrew Benintendi, who I love. I love Benintendi. Wasn't going to pick him right now.
Cleanup hitter. Cleanup hitter Benintendi.
I almost didn't sign up for this league because I knew Petro was in this, but I wanted to draft tonight. I wanted to do a live feed. Here we are. But the pitcher I was talking about, Ranger Suarez, love me some Ranger Suarez. He was having the visa issues to start the year, but for waiting on pitching, like I said, I'm going to do things a little differently. To get him at around 15 as my SP3, I'm a fan of that. Maybe I'm overthinking things, but I love what I'm seeing.
Upside,
there.
Man.
Yeah, plus, I think there's tons of upside with Ranger Suarez.
One of the other guys in this chat would pair really well with that.
Let me open the chat. Oh no, I almost picked him instead too. Yeah. So
if he falls,
yeah. So if he comes back around, that's a conversation. I have a few guys coming up here that I'm quite interested to see how things fall. It's like when you wait on pitching, now I'm about to make a little run. That's common sense. If people have drafted,
I can't see the bottom of the. Just so you know, for anybody watching, I can't see the bottom of the draft screen now.
Thank you. Let me scroll that up. See, I'm not paying attention to that. There you go. Let me know how far or short I should go. I'll leave it.
I think right there give us the last few rounds. Okay. Plus, what do you think about? So let me ask you. Now that Victor Reyes doesn't have to platoon with Badu,
I'm not saying I was going to draft him, but I have thought about that today. Like
I took my first Badu share because he was a FOMO guy. I took him on my last draft. I took too much speed in that draft. I told you I got kind of screwed. I got really good pitching, really good speed. I have to find power, which is the easiest thing to find in a 12-teamer. That's fine. I'm not worried about it.
Let me find this. Let me find. Oh, keep talking. I'm looking. Okay, here, real quick. So here's a tweet I saw. It was basically right after he co-owns Tigers Moneyline ML Report, Tigers Radio Podcast. Rogelio Castillo, Rodcast Baseball on Twitter. He said Victor Reyes' second half numbers last year: 325, 349 OBP, 519 slug, with an OPS of 865 over 134 plate appearances. That's pretty darn good.
That is. And I was a Victor Reyes guy 2 years ago. I was super on the but what they do, the problem is they continue to find ways not to play him. I feel like that speaks volumes. That's what scares me about Reyes, because I was super in on him 2 years ago. And then I ended up being right for a little bit because he played based on necessity more than anything. But Reyes is just a guy that they don't seem to care for. And he only has one season of a WRC plus over 100, and that was 2019. In 69 games, he has one career season of 100 games. They don't. I think they view Reyes as a fourth outfielder. And the name I'm going to mention isn't getting drafted and shouldn't. But Derek Hill is super toolsy with strikeout problems. And I actually read something tonight. And I told the Discord this actually that because I've talked about Reyes. I've talked about Hill a little bit this offseason. Oh, hey, hello. I talked about Hill a little bit this offseason. And the thing was, what intrigued me about him was just that he's super toolsy. The dude just strikes out a lot, but I mean, it almost reminds me of Adolis Garcia, of just being this guy that like no one talks about, no one really knows about, but super toolsy and can just kind of give you some stuff, man. So he's the guy that's like, I'm telling people to watch, especially in deeper formats, just watch for him because he's supposed to be up back in April. And they've already talked about how pretty much when he comes back, he should get an opportunity to at least run for the job. So, but this makes Badu feel safer is a long way of saying that.
I think that's why we saw Badu go where he went in this draft. I think if Riley Green was still there, you'd have to really second guess the Badu pick. Ooh, Chapman.
Yeah, I saw what you wrote.
Quite a bit. Yeah,
I saw what you wrote.
First or second, say one or two.
I'm writing it back.
Oh, okay. Because I'm looking upside. Yeah, I prefer that too. I'm thinking if I go upside, the other one might be a little interesting, but I'll probably go with the safety next. I took Suarez. Let's put it that way.
That's your reasoning. Exactly what I was going to. I was about to type.
Heck, even with Manoah, putting Manoah and Suarez, I need a little safety net there.
and that's why I'll talk about it too. Yeah, I'll leave it at that because I really don't want to hint at it because I don't know if any of these guys.
That's how I plan on taking after the first person.
Why am I not putting why am I not putting that little thing together for some reason?
Because you don't listen to my podcast. Apparently,
I do though. I text you all the time. Okay, and yes, okay. So the person you just wrote.
Ooh, David Bednar. That's an interesting pick at 15 to 12. I don't hate.
I am surprised because of the whole news we just got about the whole situation.
But by the way, like we don't have to talk about the guy I told you, but there's so many pitchers coming up right now. I'd love to draft. This is why I told myself I want to wait. Like I understand having to get a couple aces. It's an overall competition, but for people at home, if you are not drafting an overall competition, I really think you can just get like one ace. Like go to Burns, go to Cole, whatever. I get it. but there are so many pitchers coming up right now.
Just fun upside. Like they can all be SP2s or SP5s.
Like the ones I want to pick right now. Like I told Kerland about, I almost said the dude's name.
That'd been great.
Like if I don't get any of the three I mentioned, and maybe they'll all go right now, I'm going to say a name right now. I love Alex Wood. That's a great fallback. Like that's what I'm saying. There's so many guys here. I'm not going to get them all. That's just the way it's going to go. And we'll see how this pans out. There's Jorge Soler. You like him leading off, but I have no Soler shares. What are your thoughts on him right now?
He had such a strong second half with Atlanta. I think some of that carries over. I think he's closer to the guy he was in the second half than he was in the first half. I wrote a name in there that you really should consider right now too, by the way. At least in my opinion. That's just somebody. Maybe I have FOMO. I have 3 shares of this person.
I'm saying. There's so many of them. There's so many of them right now.
Which is fun because you set your team up to need this.
Yes.
So you can play this game. Honestly, you almost hope that some of these get taken to help make your decision.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't afraid to mention any names all of a sudden. I'm like, hey, here you go, guys. Check this one out.
But don't though, because if you mention names, who were you talking about? Oh, Soler. How much do I have of him? I think I only have one. I have one Soler, 8.3% roster.
There goes your boy, our boy.
Love that guy.
Pick 4 of round 16.
I don't think
I love Golden.
I have him in 4 leagues. That's 33%. That's like my 4th most owned like roster player. So yes, I have a lot of Wong. I didn't realize I had so much of this guy. I don't think he gets drafted, but I'm surprised I have that much of him.
Here's a question, and I haven't done it by any means, but like and this is a massive like bold prediction type thing, but it's almost like I feel if I miss on Ozzie Albies and get someone else there of good offensive production, I think I could take Colton Wong as like Ozzie Albies light potentially.
Yeah, that's what he is. No,
might be more of a stretch, but I think there's a lot of similarities there.
I think less RBI, obviously, but
for sure.
Wong's gonna kind of you just know what you're getting. 12-12 with good batting average is the floor. Like we saw last year, he had career highs and things, but it's because ballpark and approach, he kind of changed his approach, which I actually almost prefer him hitting more line drives because I was talking to Eric's, his last name Samolsky or something. I was right. Okay. I was talking to him about it, and he pointed out to me like, hey, like he was actually better when he wasn't trying to lift the ball more. I was like, you know what? You have a good point. He really was. So I went digging more and realized that even though he had this change, it didn't quite work as good as it could have. He still was an average player. So I just like if you give me like 12 and 15 with 270 out of Colton Wong, and you're getting all those runs, like a healthy Colton Wong is gonna be 90 plus runs. He's just solid. I know what you mean. It's hard to say Albies light because Albies does give you like all 5 categories for the most part. But I think Wong gives you a better batting average.
Check the chat. I'm on the clock.
I know. I'm torn. I'm so torn. I'm very torn.
This is tough. I have so much of the second guy. I don't have much of the first guy.
I mean, what do you? Is this your final draft for one of them? Like,
I got one more draft to go.
So,
let me see something real quick. Let me see.
Because I know. Here's the thing. I know my answer. I don't want to give it because I don't want to.
I'm gonna get the safety net. Give me Marcus Stroman. I don't have any Stroman yet. We're gonna go Stro, and I have a ton of the other guy though, so it is what it is. But
yeah. So Stroman's one of my 2 players. One of my 4 players. I have 2 shares of both my OCs. Which are my 2 biggest leagues of the year. I did 2 OCs. Those are my 2 biggest leagues of the year. But Stroman is a guy I have 50% roster, which I have 12 leagues apparently. I didn't realize I only had 12. So out of my 12 leagues, I have Stroman on 6. Gives you an idea of how much I value him this year. I think
Stroman. I'm a huge Stroman fan. It's just,
he's boring.
But I think he takes even like I said last year when I took him a lot of places because he's a post like 220 something ADP. I'm like, he's working on a new pitch. He's going to take the next step. He took a leap, and now he's working on another new pitch, and it just gets working.
And he had
here's a fun name that just went. Noah Syndergaard just went, and he went right after my Stroman pick. Now you want to talk about a ceiling play with a tremendously fall floor.
I haven't seen the velo since the last. I remember the last star's velo was like low 90s. Like that's not good for Thor.
It wasn't ideal, but
6-man rotation too. Never good.
True. And Stroman, the thing with Stroman I like a lot is on that Cubs rotation, they're going to need all the innings he can give them.
Yeah, the only thing is I wonder, and that's why he falls in these formats, because even I had to think about it. I'm like, I know he's not great for these formats because innings don't necessarily, you need upside more than you need innings. He's been a guy for DCs I love because you know what you're getting, but I still think there's a level of strikeout potential there that we haven't gotten yet. I have if you go look, like he had like a career high swing strike rate and above average like swing, and so he's getting the swings and misses, he's getting the chases. Maybe it all comes together, and even if he's like an 8K per 9, that would be great considering the innings he's giving you. That's like a Mad Bum from a couple years ago, like right, not like peak Mad Bum, but Mad Bum was giving you like 200 innings, like 190 Ks. I feel like at one point, like towards like it was right after the whole dirt bike accident, I think.
Yeah,
like kind of that guy, which is post dirt bike Mad Bum.
Post dirt bike Mad Bum. But see, this is where it gets fun. Like I talk about all these pitchers. John Gray just went. He's a guy that like there's so many arguments for so many pitchers in this range. It's a phenomenal range of pitchers.
I find myself getting Stroman a lot because, like you said, like Suarez and him pair well together. You have Manoah. It just makes sense to kind of get one guy that if those guys don't pan out, you're not going to drop Stroman. I don't see a path to dropping Stroman. I could see a path to dropping any other volatile SP ahead of him, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sure. Kopech went format. I think Kopech should go ahead of him in this format. But if you're dropping Kopech by mid-May, are you surprised? No, I'd be surprised if I'm dropping Stroman by mid-May.
Yeah, true.
That's where it gets kind of weird. Like I know you have to shoot for the upside in this format, but you already have it. So why not back it up with base? I just have a hard time. Maybe again, I have a very, very the draft champions mindset, which is draft and hold. Like innings matter to me. Maybe I need to get out. That's why my last draft, I kind of took more upside than usual in pitching. And it's been a hard transition. It's been a weird transition for me to go from DCs to OCs.
It's a big transition. There's no sugarcoating that at all. That's a big. There goes Patrick Sandoval. That's one of the guys I think is very like this range. And I keep saying it over and over again, but this is nuts. And the main guy, there goes Jomo. There goes, and guess who took him? Nate Petroziello.
He's taking your team.
He's building. I want a percentage of this team.
That's so what he's doing is he's actually taking your team in the league with you, and that way it's like, hey, Bubba, you won. Oh wait, you didn't. Yeah. You didn't win though. That's the thing. He's winning with your team. Hey, honestly, backhanded compliment if he wins.
Yeah,
it's a win-win for you.
I lost. I hope you're second overall.
To you, right?
Exactly.
The whole thing. It's funny though because it's one of those like, oh, if he wins the league, well, he won with my team.
Yeah, exactly. Again, percentage, please. That's all I'm saying. Because this is hilarious. Watching his picks, I'm like, I have like the roster geared up. He's got. Are you
Reese. Still looking at the play?
The hitter. Hoskins, Polanco, Swanson, J-Ram, Teoscar, Lourdes, Benintendi. Like this is just freaking right down my board. This is so funny. It's good stuff. But yeah, I'm on deck, and I said earlier I'm going to wait till this pick's made. But with one of my early picks, I was going to have to do something different throughout the draft to cover a situation that's going to take place. And this is dictating me not taking another pitcher that I want to take right here. O'Neal Cruz just went. That's an interesting one. But I said earlier when I took Bobby Witt Jr., I need to take a third baseman for now because Bobby Witt won't be there forever. And I love this guy anyways, but I probably would have taken another pitcher that I really like. But right here, we're going Josh Donaldson. Josh Donaldson will be my starting third baseman.
Leadoff hitter.
A leadoff Josh Donaldson is bonkers stuff. Like you can't write that stuff up anywhere. So we'll see how that one plays out. But what's your thoughts on O'Neal Cruz going there so soon?
Yeah, no.
No.
I actually, what we're talking about pick 200. Oh, after pick 200. I guess I'm okay with it. Oh, is it 197? I can't.
Yeah, so pretty close to 200.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was looking at the round. Okay, so about to pick 200. I get it, but like we're assuming 2 weeks. Does anybody actually know how much they need?
We don't have I don't know the exact answer for that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody knows how long. This could be like a 1 month thing. And I know a month doesn't sound like a lot, but in a shallower format, like a 12, holding on to a guy for a month is really tough. And then like if you have a really big injury, say the first week of the season, now it's like, can you really? I don't think you can hold 2 spots.
Yeah.
I get it. I do because I think O'Neal's a lot of fun. I think it's a fun pick. But you already have Syndergaard. You have Gallo. Like I'm looking at that team. It's just like I feel like I would have gotten a little more. I would have gone a little safer there.
Yeah.
He literally swung for the fences with Gallo. You know what I mean? Like,
He went for broke, as the kids say.
Dylan Carlson, though, I'm not mad about that pick. Although I have none. Like, I don't know why. I feel like he's just kind of whatever.
You've been pubbing him like crazy. If you leadoff hitter for the Cardinals.
That's all I'm pumping up though. I never pumped up anything else about him besides the fact that he's probably gonna lead off.
I laugh because last year at Rotoballer I wrote a draft, a fantasy sleepers article on Dylan Carlson, and I got so much feedback. He's not a sleeper. Blah 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 blah. I could have probably wrote one this year, but so much for that.
Oh yeah, you could have argued the whole like I think he's gonna.
It would have gone perfect with my don't draft Tommy Edman articles I write.
But, yeah, it would have. Don't draft Tommy Edman because you can get this guy.
There goes AJ Pollock. I picked 201.
Hey, he's gonna miss the first week or two of the season.
Yeah, he's gonna miss some games early on because he's gonna be a daddy. So good for him. Congrats on the sex. But that's gonna be interesting to see how that works.
It was just so random. Like I didn't expect to find that news. I'm like, he's expecting a kid in 10 days. And and apparently something about like, it's their second kid or something. I'm like, well, he's already had one. Maybe he doesn't care. I'm kidding. But that was the joke I made in the chat. Very tasteless joke. I get it. I'm a father of 3, but
never make tasteless jokes, Kerland.
No, fine. Never. It's I'm a father of 3, so I get it. Like I would hope somebody would say something funny like that to me too, or jokingly, because he deserves to be home with his family. It's just one of those things though. Like you have to plan for it because now the first week you don't want to play him until he has the kid, because what if he misses, like if he leaves on Tuesday, you're taking zeros for half the week. If he leaves on Monday after lineups lock, you're getting zeros for the whole week. It's a weird, like, not that's a grand scheme doesn't matter, but and I guess it doesn't really matter in a 12 because he should get like probably a bench outfielder or a bench bat or something, I would think. Yeah. But you get my point. It's just one of those small things, and that doesn't include the fact that Pollock can get injured or likely will at one point this year. So just added to games missed built in already. Just a little, again, a small ding. Nothing. I wouldn't even honestly change much about how you evaluate him by any means, but that's the guy. I was hoping that.
There goes Alex Cobb. That's a great pick. I'm
surprised he lasted. He didn't make it this far in my last draft because of the hype around him, the velo.
You know what's interesting? He went ahead of DeSclafani and Alex Wood, teammates of his that he hasn't probably been doing all draft season. So he wasn't
until the velo came around in spring. I know he wasn't.
Over the last couple days, ADP of 211, min 183, max 235. If you look at Alex Wood, ADP of 205, so he's going about 6 picks earlier. Disco about 3 picks earlier, so they're all in about the same ballparks. Maybe we'll see them go here pretty soon. We'll see, but interesting to see that jump, which hasn't happened a lot lately.
How do you think the humidor affects them now? It goes from not that it's gonna be a
it should be at least a more. It was more offensive the last couple of years though, so it's interesting. But we've talked about that, and I think there's a lot too. It'll make the pitchers' parks a little more offensive, and the offensive parks a little more pitchery. The goal, I think, is to make it like neutral across baseball. But
yeah, here's the report, by the way. Lance Lynn left the game with right knee discomfort. Will be evaluated further tomorrow.
I guess like right side, it's his knee, but right knee, so that's his push-off knee.
That's his pivot. Yeah, that's not pivot. Sorry, push-off. Yeah,
it's not.
And his age, it was one of those things that he's been healthy. He used to actually be a big health risk.
Yeah.
Well, he was actually. I remember with the Cardinals, it was the health issues
once he left St. Louis,
and then he started being like you mentioned, a workhorse, just 200 innings or 180. It was like almost you could write it in pen. And now there goes Alex Wood, like you mentioned.
And he should. He went too far. Like these guys are falling to me too far. I guess that's close to his ADP. Like I said recently, 205. He went at 206, but I'm much higher on Wood than other people. I like him a lot, but the Cobb helium is in full effect, which. Hey, I hope he's that good as a Giants fan. I truly do, but I'm always going to be hesitant on stuff like that.
Apparently, someone's on Twitter right now telling me that Kimbrel's velo is down right now, which could just be a slow ramp up.
Yeah, it's slow ramp. I think the slow ramp up makes sense after the David Roberts comments we saw. So
yeah,
that makes a ton of sense. The velo, I know we talk velo with a lot of guys, but velo with closers per se, I'm not nearly as worried about as I am with like. The start, like you mentioned, center guard, that's like concerning Tommy John surgery. Yes.
Kikuchi's velo's down like a whole mile per hour right now.
Yeah, but don't worry about it. The Blue Jays do great things with pitchers. It'll be okay.
Maybe. I do like to Jesus. Real quick, which team was this? I sent it to our group chat that we have. Spoiler, the Twins. Twins starters are likely to begin, which don't be surprised. This is normal for everybody, but it's going to be frustrating. You might want to start middle relievers or some back end RPs and try to snipe some wins because the Twins are going to start their starters off with a max of 60 to 75 pitches, which if you're lucky, you get through 5 innings.
Yeah.
Like a good pitcher gets through 5 innings in that much, and they have one of those. So
and that's one thing that like Ryan and I talked about the other night is for these first fab periods, if you're just like, if you got a spot and you're curious, you want to replace them, go put a buck in on these like long guys, because there's a lot of teams that are going to do that for the first like week or so. A lot of teams.
Yeah, I remember that was Bloomfield that mentioned that, right?
Yeah, Bloomfield mentioned it. So he started like going through, like if you go through Greg Jewett's pitch reliever recon,
amazing.
His chart, he's got literally a section for like longmen in the bullpen. And it might not all be them. There might be the next spot over, but just think of all these guys that have like flourished in that role. That could be a big one for sure. So something to keep in mind as you get drafting. But I'm hoping, did he fall? He did. Thank you. Because I feel like I'm getting a little light on stolen bases with some of these power sources I've been taking, and my normal outfield stolen base guys are big targets of mine. So we're going to push up a little bit here. This individual's got an ADP of 209, a min of 163, a max of 252. And come on down, Tommy Pham in Great American Small Park. So,
I forgot all about him last draft. I wrote down a list of players I was targeting for the back end, and I forgot to put Pham on there for the mid rounds. Yeah. And I forgot about him. You said it right now. I think he's gonna steal double digits. I think he steals at least 10. Yeah,
because if you just use the room here, his ADP is like 260 something. So you have to like slide down to find him.
And I'm sure he just slipped my mind for sure.
Yeah. So now it gets fun. Because in theory, I need a catcher and an outfielder to finish out my starting group. Obviously, I can get reserve guys right now. I don't have to worry about that. I need 3 more pitchers before reserves also. So just kind of looking and rounding out the roster. This is where you're going to get a chat here in a minute.
I'm typing in some. I don't even want to say what I'm typing in.
Yeah, but there's some interesting options here. Do I shore up more pitching? Do I go to hammer down some bats for the early weeks? This is where it gets fun in this whole conundrum we have here. So we're kind of on the same page. You're definitely on the same page here. And take them early. This is not last rounds, but yeah.
Well, I meant like that's where I got specifically one of them. I can't. I don't even want to bring his name up because he's available in one of my leagues for Fab, and I'm like, I gotta figure out because in these leagues, Fab is very rich to start the year.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have to either decide to go after one of those guys, or I have to decide to go after like another one of these guys.
Grichuk just went off the board. That's a great pick.
I was so upset. He was the top of my queue the round he went off in my league. He was top of my queue. I'm like, I need power. I'm like, there's Grichuk. I'm like, there's the name, and then I didn't get him.
I think I'm going to roll the dice on one of the guys you mentioned there. I'm going to try to get him with my next pick.
Okay,
based on what I've seen the last, with what I've seen in ADPs here. So I think I'll wait and play that game right now.
Okay. For reference, I did just draft that guy, and let me find out where exactly. I just did OC yesterday.
I looked at his min and max picks right now. We're still a chunk away.
Hopefully. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's the guy that's available on the waiver wire.
I figured 100% who you're talking about.
And I'm so upset that he is, but at the same time, I have no one to drop. Like, I just don't. Like, I don't want to drop other specs. Like, and I'll put those names in there too.
Man. And you got me worried with that Minnesota comment you made. That doesn't make. There goes Robert Suarez.
I just put 2 names in. I just put 2 names in there that I can't get around on dropping for.
I'm not dropping either one of them. Don't you worry. Stay strong. Stay strong.
That's the thing. I can't drop. But those are those are literally the names I'd have to drop for the guy you just put.
I would drop one of them actually. But,
I have a hard time doing that.
In a 12-teamer, I would.
And that's the thing. It's a 12-teamer, so it's more acceptable. Yep. But in that league, I gotta actually see who. Again, it's all cryptic. I know
is Frank in our league?
I can't do it. I can't. I'm okay if I'm wrong. I have accepted that already. Like, I'm okay being wrong on this. I can't.
Here's one guy I've accepted being wrong on many times, but we're gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna go with Cal Quantrill here. I'm a huge Cal Quantrill fan. I know people hate it.
I heard you actually see. I did listen to your pod with Toby because he's not, and you had to talk to him about it. So I do listen to your show.
Thank you, I appreciate it. But so, too many people just look at the entire stat line on things and don't look at how pitchers develop, especially young pitchers, and the development that Cal Quantrill had made in the last 2 months of the season. To me, was very, very eye opening in what he did, and it's one of those. If he could take that next step, that could be tremendous.
I got one for you. Hold on. Sure. That's the one that that's the reason why I don't have the other guy you named.
I would be willing to drop him for the guy you're thinking of if you have him.
You think? I know I do.
Yeah, I would. Yes. There goes Disco. I was debating taking Disco over Control. There's one other pitcher I was debating as well, but
I'm surprised that you would do that. Actually, I found who I can drop here. I'll type the name because I mean he's a free agent. I'm going to drop that guy. I'm in on him, but I'm willing to drop him.
You can drop that. Yes.
Yes. I forgot. I've been so hyper focused on dropping another guy. Don't just
drop him like a lead balloon. That is fine. And see, this is where it's weird because I usually take my catchers and everything early, so I'm drafting certain players right now that are still available offensively that I just don't really need at the moment. And this is the point of this draft, though, to do things different, take me out of my comfort zone. That is what we have accomplished so far. So. This is definitely an interesting build right now. And I hope it's fun and helping people out because I'm having a good time chatting about it and trying to go through the players and talk strategy and thoughts on different things that are changing. Because I'm still curious on some of these guys on when some of the newsies that have gone out there when they will get drafted because we have not seen certain players that have gotten some positive news of late get drafted, and I'm really curious to see. When that takes place, let's put it that way. That'd be really interesting to me. Like maybe I should just go set the men pick on certain people. That would be a ton of fun. But let me write this name down so I don't forget it later. That's okay. Yeah, we can hopefully wait a few rounds on him. That would be good. But I think I'm going to go to that spec we were talking about earlier. I got that's the route I'm going to.
There's another name that I'm going through my these aren't names.
But these are tons of guys. I told you there's so many down here that it makes it tough to take them early because there's so many of them in a 12-team league.
No, I'm saying like these are like literally last round option types of guys.
Oh, I know you're gonna put down here for the question. You just no, I was thinking. I figured.
Oh no, these are. I can't say some of these. Oh, that goes without saying. My feelings on him.
But
I've been.
Let's talk about the draft here. Adam Wainwright just went off the board because I don't think people care about.
Shut out on that guy, by the way.
I don't think people care about us talking about guys they can't hear about. So,
I know it's so much fun though.
Adam Wainwright going off the board. He is a guy I'm just afraid to draft right now. I'm just so afraid.
Where he just went though, what's the risk? This is reserves almost.
Yeah,
almost in the reserves, and
it's a much less risky pick.
Can we go back to your Donaldson pick? I think you just fall in line with my thinking, and I think Simeon. I hate to agree with Simeon, but we actually do agree on Donaldson that I'm all about the price because he's going to play as much as I get. Health is an issue, but he's played like 135, I think, in 2 of his last 3 full seasons, and he's going to be leading off at times for the Yankees. So added at bats, we know the power's there, the lineup, the park. What's not to like about him?
Well, I'm all aboard. Don't have to convince me. We're
I'm just curious. If I don't know how much you have of him. I know you took him in this draft.
Josh Donaldson. I'd have to go check my actual shares. Let's just say I have not attempted to pick him. Like he hasn't been off my list. Let's put it that way. So I like him quite a bit. There's zero qualms on that one for me. So it's kind of nice because I'm using him as a fill-in, but he could legit be the dude for me too. So
you can keep Witt. You can put Witt in the middle infield and call it a day too. Like
because he'll have shortstop, third base eligibility, and God forbid something happens to Jazz or something. I have wiggle room now, which is nice to have in that. Respect.
Oh wait, did this person? Oh, they already went. Yeah, they already went. I'm like they had to have gone by now.
Which one?
The Glaber. I was like,
Glaber went a while ago.
Yeah, I realized
how far IKF at round 20, right after Paul DeJong.
I guess I understand the idea of chasing speed with him because I know he does run a little bit, but not exactly.
How about this one? It just went pick 232. Paul Sewald went, and he's a beast. He's an awesome reliever. There's no doubting that. But with other speculative closers still out there, taking a guy that might not be like the obvious closer is an interesting pick to me.
Yeah, that's why. I did type another guy in here. Did this guy go? Just type another one.
I don't think so. I was just looking at him a second ago. Maybe
he did. He did
okay.
just after Tommy Pham.
And so did the other dude. So yeah, we're gonna go with the spec dude we were talking about. That's who my next pick is if he falls. But the Sewald pick just surprised me. I love Paul Sewald. 15-team leagues. I think he makes a ton of sense. There goes Kyle Finnegan, another spec closer. Like him and Tanner Rainey are interesting in Washington right now. So that makes a kind of fun situation going on there. And I'm just hoping people keep avoiding my spec guy. That'd be great. 2 more picks to go. So let's hope that one stays strong and we can enjoy that. Nathaniel Lowe, there goes Voldemort right before me. So
Voldemort.
Yeah. So my spec closer is coming off the board here in Jordan Hicks, who has been nothing but filthy in spring training right now. And they've already said they want Gallegos and high leverage. Jordan Hicks is going to run in some saves, folks. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I don't see how Gallegos not gonna get them all. They already talked about that, so we'll see. I'm gonna I took him in a
you
draft
don't like
recently
the pick.
too.
You don't like
no,
the pick, I can tell.
I don't want to talk him up.
I got you. 10-4. Yeah.
I don't want to talk him up too much.
It's okay. No one listens. No one listens to this, Kerland. Don't worry about it.
Hopefully it's only one. It's literally only one person I hope doesn't listen. But I don't care. I'm in on it, and I took him at the. I told you he fell just yesterday. It's like around 26. I think I got him.
That's an interesting pick around 26. I'll be honest. That's a pretty strong
the fact that
pick.
he fell there. Yeah, I was like, okay, cool. I know. I don't think people have come around on the idea that he's back. People don't view him. I don't think people are realizing he could be this year's Alex Reyes for the team who lost Alex Reyes.
I need you to talk through some more things with me real quick here. Brandon Belt, Elias Diaz, Brandon Belt. There goes Matt Brash, first pick around 21. That's a big one. I like that. That's fine. Yeah, that's not going crazy. So that Twins thing you mentioned, they're saying the whole rotation's only going like 60 to 70 pitches.
Let me double check that. I actually shared it in our group. DM,
yeah, I haven't looked at that since we started drafting.
So it's a beat writer, Dan Hayes, MLB. He's
a beat writer.
Yeah, from the Athletic. They're going to potentially carry 16 pitchers. They need multiple long relievers. Starters likely to begin season maxed at 60 to 75 pitches.
God, that is horrible to hear. I might just have to bite the bullet, which sucks for the win department, but there's a dude I love that's still sitting out there. So I almost took him with my last pick instead of
that's just what that was him responding to so I doubt this is the guy you're looking at, so I'm not gonna say it just in case, but there's no way. I haven't seen this guy drafted ever, but it was just a guy that could vulture stuff. I mean, somebody that we might see on like Adam for this week and see what happens, because we've seen like flashes and you'll see it's a name that no one's talking about.
Yeah, it's an interesting call for sure.
But it's the name that the commenter to him said.
I see why too. I see why you're saying that.
Yeah, because it's a guy that no one's gonna be interested in and no one's gonna draft. He's gonna go undrafted.
Okay, so all this Minnesota talk, I'm taking Bailey Ober right now. He fell. I'm taking Bailey over. I'm just gonna bite the bullet on this.
His skill set is so. The thing is, though, he's super efficient. So you're like, I feel comfortable. Like he can get through 5 innings and 75.
5 or so innings in the pitch count because he doesn't walk anybody. So that's a good point.
No, he attacks his own,
but he could sneak in 5 or 6 innings.
I think his velo is up on everything but his fastball, which is weird because the dude is like a tree. He's like 6'8". He's like 6'10", and he's built like a tree. But he's I think his velo is up on the changeup and curve or slide, or whatever it is, curve slider. The secondaries, the velo was up last I looked for him, which is interesting, but the fastball's not. I'm like, come on, man, you should be able to chuck it like 96 on average, being that big.
You would think so, but it's physics. It's all physics.
I know he's kind of awkward. If you watch his mechanics, he seems a little clunky. Like he doesn't seem so smooth with them. But he's so good at locating the ball, man. He's such a good, like he's able to just pinpoint that the pitch is pretty much, and that changeup is pretty damn good. Trinan just went.
Oh, see, I could guess I can understand it there. I still don't think it's worth it because
meanwhile, you're talking about dropping him.
Well, because I just don't think he's worth it in the long run. Like they flat out have said he's not going to
But we're talking the first couple of weeks, maybe it makes sense.
In this scenario, when they're limited innings and stuff, I'm like, okay, I guess I can see what we're going with here.
The most underappreciated man of fantasy this year is Brandon Crawford, right? It has to be.
Yes. Well, I think everyone's afraid because of, and he just went. That's why he brought him up. But I think people are afraid because of he did so well last year. Like, there's only one way to go, right? Only one way.
But it's weird because I know he's AARP member.
Yeah, he's an old bug. I'm a Giants fan. I loved watching, but the thing with him is he did make those legit.
That's what I'm saying. There's
changes, like there were legit changes.
Everything and everything behind it, the underlying metrics that we preach usually all back it up, and yet no one's buying. Even people like you and I who believe that what we saw was real. It's hard to believe it repeating. But I love Brandon Belt. And he already went. There's a reason why I brought him up. I love Brandon Belt, but I think he's gonna. I see the chat too. That's my. I can explain why if or when it comes up. But
okay. Well, I was just curious because he's falling so much in this draft. So I was just.
I don't know.
There goes Torkelson. There goes Tork. I was wondering when he would go. So Torkelson is at pick 250. He's gonna play starting out at the gate. What's your thoughts on Torque? Because I'm like so torn on him. Like I like Riley Green more. I like the other guys more, but
here's some news on that player. And that's probably it's called precautionary though. So for what it's worth, just a heads up.
Okay, that really says don't pick me. Got you.
That's probably, but that explains why they're dropping. I just gave you the rest of the information real quick.
Okay,
and that was sense. From
appreciate that.
Today's April 2nd. Yep, same.
Yeah,
April 2nd. I have to add that to the. I'm gonna add that to the lineup.
It's precautionary, but that's good to know. Good to know.
Yes.
But he's an interesting guy. I'm a believer in him this year, but that is a little not good out the gate. But I still have about 10 picks to go to my pick, and I think I know who I'm going to take here. It's one of my team boring players that I wrote about the other day. Here we got a question. We got a question in the chat here.
Oh, we got one. Yeah.
Casey, Torkelson over Voit and Rizzo, or did I miss him going? Rizzo went. Voit has not gone yet.
I feel like that's where he belongs in that conversation now.
Yeah.
Upside versus known commodities.
I'm just going to name first basemen that are out there still. Yuli Gurriel. Frank Schwindel,
I like Yuli, man.
Miguel Sano, Luke Voit, Rowdy Tellez, Jesus Aguilar. Yuli Gurriel just went. Jonathan Scope. All those first baseman eligible players there. Torque just went over. I
think Torque would be in that conversation. I think Torque should go ahead of all those names you just mentioned, except for I could argue Yuli because the floor. But you're talking about the overall. The ceiling's there for Torque. I think you take Torque over Yuli in this format specifically. You take Torque over Belt because Belt, although we've seen it, it's always injury prone. You take Torque over probably Nathaniel Lowe because Lowe's more of a floor play. Rizzo is kind of that. I feel like that's where the conversation is: Rizzo or Torque. And this guy took both of them. And the thing is, those Torque's still going so late enough that you could have paired Torque with Votto, or if you didn't already have, or you would have been in a position like having Crone taking Torque as a fallback corner infielder would have made sense for you. And I feel like that's where you don't have to worry about taking him as high as like I was just mentioning. You can get him kind of right here, Torkelson that is, but you can also make sure you grab somebody ahead of him. That way you're safe.
Yeah, that's definitely an option.
Lamet is a guy that I have more of than I probably should. I didn't realize it. There is one more, but I'm adding this. I was going to the spring training chart to add that news, so I can add because I try to add as much breaking news as I can about hitters. The other stuff, the closer stuff, I stick to Twitter. I usually don't even break that type of news. I just literally had time to kill. And I was reading articles through MLB.com, which I argued. I was talking about it today, I think it was some today's pod with Doug. I was saying that people just don't read MLB. MLB.com is annoying sometimes in terms of a site. No one thinks of it as a great news source, but if you go read through some of the articles, you'll find a bunch of interesting information. That's stuff I was tweeting about tonight was all MLB.com content. And it's free.
It makes sense. It's free. Free 99. So go check it out. Taylor Hearn just went at pick 257. Yeah, pitcher for the Rangers. Now that's one pick I don't understand. I'd love to get that person's opinion on that one. I was drafting him in DCs past round 30.
I just
But
sent you a couple names that popped into my head.
there
Just
goes
throwing them out there.
Nikes. I think I might have to take care of my catcher's position because the guys I was trying to wait on all just went. So I like those. I will keep those in mind in the future rounds. But
they just popped into my head right now. That's all that was.
Yeah, like I just two of the handful of catchers I've been waiting on just went. So I'm on deck. I'm gonna need to, since I'm on deck here, it's pretty simple. I'm on the clock. I like Gary Sanchez a lot this year, but he's in a DH and play a lot for the Twins. I still think it's super risky. I like Carson Kelly. I like Max Stassi. I think I'm gonna go with Max Stassi on this one. Do you have a preference at catcher?
What was the last two?
As was Gary Sanchez.
I don't like Sanchez.
Carson Kelly, Max Stassi.
Kelly and Stassi, I would prefer over Sanchez. Is just too much swing and miss.
Yep.
I think if I was picking, I'd probably go Kelly, but I actually have more Stassi because I usually wait for my second catcher, and he's the second one I land on.
Yeah, I have more Stassi too, so I'm gonna go Kelly.
I trust Kelly. I just trust Kelly to stay healthier.
Yep.
Stassi's just a guy that hasn't been able to stay healthy the last few years.
So we just went Carson Kelly there. So I still have an outfield spot left and then all my reserve picks to go. So we are around 22 for those keeping track at home. You can obviously watch it on the YouTube channel. I'll scroll up a little farther. So now the whole screen will be in play for you the rest of the draft as we are flying. That's why I love these OCs. They go so fast. Usually they go in like 2 hours. This is the longest OC I've done so far.
Yeah, and I have to work in the morning, but I'm going to hang out and stay and talk anyway.
You can leave anytime you want.
I'm never going to leave. It's baseball season. I'm never going to sleep for the next 6 months.
Yeah, this is the fun stuff. When else? Draft season's almost over. It's almost done.
And then we're gonna be like, oh, waiver wire again. Yeah. Oh, waiver wire again. Fab is fun though. At least I'm learning to love Fab. Not the process of actually entering Fab bids, but the idea of Fab bids is way more fun. I couldn't imagine doing more than 2 or 3 Fab leagues.
Fab is fun the first few weeks, and then when it's like you have $300 left and these really glaring weaknesses, and then the options are kind of blah, then it gets rough. Dylan Floro just went for those keeping track. Then Art Warren, we are in spec season. Floro's hurt, right? Did I miss something?
Yeah.
There?
No. Yeah. Last I checked, he's behind.
Yeah. So Floro just went. Art Warren is there. Goes Luke Voigt for those asking at home earlier about torque. Reed Detmer's good pick. Good spec pick. I like that. But 6-man rotation.
I got my
6-man rotation scares me.
That's it. That's it right there.
Yeah.
That's what scares me the most about him was 6-man rotation. I got my first share because I felt the need to get in on him for sure. But then the 6-man rotation, I'm like, I mentioned it earlier with Syndergaard. I'm like, oh, that's another one right there. Mitch Keller just went, and I'm letting other people do it.
Yeah, I that's a FOMO guy though. I didn't think I had to push him up that much, but I guess I do. 267 is about right. Cole Sulcer's an interesting spec. If you need to get frisky, I don't hate that a ton. Another spec here in the queue.
I sent you a few names. Just threw some names out there, random names.
No, they're good ones. They're good ones to have. That's for sure. I'd really wish we knew how bad Lucas Sims' injury was because I love Lucas Sims, but damn.
I can't take anybody that's dealing with an elbow, like already in an off season, then elbow entering the season. Like it's just. I took my first Wander share, by the way. It was OC. He fell to 85, and that's the first time I was like, you know what? That's palatable. I can take Wander at 85.
Yeah,
I think there's an upside there at that point, at least, because around 85, it's him or Brian Reynolds, and
here's your upside starting pitcher in round 23 for me, Tyler Miguel with the New York Mets.
He's available in all my leagues because he wasn't in the rotation. So now it's like,
now Walker's out, DeGrom's out forever, Scherzer's banged up. Tyler Miguel, come on down. Just keep the ball in the ballpark, please. That's all I ask.
Well, Humidor, not sure if that's gonna help him or not. Probably early in the season it will before it gets humid.
See, it's funny because the question is, and this is a funny one because we don't even know what baseballs we're using to start with. We've never known what baseballs we're using. But who's regulating the humidor? The home team, Major League Baseball? Because does the home team really want to hurt their hitters?
I was listening to Eno, actually, that apparently the balls get sent to the park a certain amount of hours before the game. And
so they've been in a humidor off location.
I guess that's how it works. If someone's listening and I'm wrong, please at me because it was on Rates and Barrels. So I'm trying to, in my head, I feel like that's a burnt pick.
Riley Green, they said at least 6 to 8 weeks. I love Riley Green. I drafted him. I think at my last OC. He'll be getting dropped this weekend.
That's so hard. That's so hard. It's like I feel for you there.
But
I have no McGill, by the way. I have 0 McGill.
Well, you can change that this weekend in your fab, it sounds like.
but that involves me. That involves me making some
button doing it.
There's guys I really want to see it through with. And the two names I mentioned, I'm dropping one of them. I'm willing to drop. I won't say the name in case you want them. I don't think you want them though. I'll type the name. If you don't want them, I can talk about them.
No, talk about him. I already told you drop him.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure. Heaney's a guy that I enjoyed the idea of specking on because I do like, I've always been a Heaney guy. I really have been. But I would have so I'm already trying to drop him for somebody else. And McGill is my backup bid. Like I do have a backup bid in on him. So I'm not not trying him, but he's not my top target. He's just a guy that I'm willing to fall back on. But I still have a pretty aggressive bid on both of them. Not like crazy, but something that's I should get the first guy, but if I don't, I should get him. If I don't get both, then I like Matz. I like any Cardinals pitcher with that elite defense. I like it.
Lane Thomas. Oh, someone drafted the Candy Man. I was looking at something else. I love Candy. I almost waited on it and took Candy instead of Donaldson, but if it's only for a couple of weeks, give me Donaldson.
Yeah. There's a level of upside with Donaldson that Candy will never be able to reach. Yeah,
and I love Candy. I believe there's another level to his overall production that we are going to see this year.
It is crazy though that literally from yesterday to today, I can go watch a draft like I'm watching this one, and it's completely opposite of just how reactionary everything is.
Yeah, that's what's beautiful about it, and that's what was so tough during the lockout because we had no news, no nothing, so it's just blah 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 blah, and just kept going. And now it's it's go time. We have so much cool stuff changing all the time, so it's been pretty wild to say the least, which I love. It's good. It's good.
Fun. It's just frustrating because I don't adapt. I don't have the strength to. I don't adapt as fast as I should. I do adapt to some stuff pretty quick, but not enough to. It's I could use a couple more drafts to kind of. All right, cool. I kind of want to adapt. I'm willing to pay the market price change, but I'm not drafting enough. I have one more. I have the Yahoo Friends and Family draft coming up. That's the only one left, and it's a 20 teamer. I think I was looking at the other day. So because it's so many teams, I will be able to get a lot of these fun guys, guys that I've been talking about in the background here, and guys I'm in on guys like those. I enjoy deep leagues because I get a chance to speculate on all these fun late names that nobody else should be drafting.
Yep. No, that's the beauty of it. And the Yahoo Friends, it's obviously on Yahoo, so different is the same score. It's different scoring too. I think.
I think he told me it was 5x5. I should do my homework. The draft's on Tuesday, so I plan on sitting down.
You look at it right beforehand, so you'll be good.
Yeah, kind of like what I do. You sent me show notes the day before. I don't open them up until an hour before the show.
Yeah, I know.
That's normal though. Hey, at least I admit that. I mean, Mason will just straight up tell you he doesn't read them.
Yeah.
So
that's Mason for you. He doesn't care about us. It's okay.
But I can also get on here tonight, no outline, and just talk about baseball. So
that's the beauty of it.
It's kind of a gift, and maybe it's because I'm just comfortable at this point. I know, when I first started doing this, I probably couldn't do this, but just get on.
There goes Carlos Carrasco. What's your thoughts on him? Because I almost took him over McGill. I love Cookie, but I just can't trust the health.
I want to believe. I really do. I do have a name. I'm curious your thoughts on what we could talk about if you're not going to draft him here, but. And it's a gross one. So I doubt he shouldn't be drafted, but I just put in the chat.
Talk about him all you want. I'm not touching him. So yeah. So Ronaldo Lopez, knock yourself out.
Well, Kev brought him up on Twitter, and I was like, and he has how many innings? He has 4 innings with a 2.25 ERA. So he's gonna go out there and kill it. But with Lynn out, I guess it's worth bringing up just because if Lynn's gonna miss some time, Lopez could enter the rotation and maybe gain some, deep AL only value, which it never hurts to bring up. But I don't know how much people are gonna value him. I know, like I said, Kev on Twitter brought it up. So Rotosurgeon.
Yeah, we're 2 picks away from me setting the men pick on somebody, and I'm so excited about it. I've set a few men picks today, but after what took place on Twitter about an hour and a half, about 2 hours ago now, 2.5 hours ago, this is going to be so much fun. We'll get the fireworks ready, popcorn, folks. I hope this happens.
And the funny part is we'll talk about it too. It's the guy you typed, right?
There goes Kirilloff.
There's your boy.
That's the guy that was falling forever, and I've been so tempted to take him over and over, but Kerland said he left tonight's game with a precautionary knee injury. So Interesting.
Yeah.
But that's a long fall that I think there's great value there if it's just precautionary.
I
really
am
do.
curious if when the power is going to show. That's why. So I wanted to talk about him. My big thing about Kurland coming off the injury is that he's playing, but the power hasn't been there. Let me pull up the hitting stats in general. And spring training is a thing. Again, I don't care if it was like any extra base hits, I'd be happy. But Kurland, last I checked, wasn't getting any extra base hits.
Here's the Newman pick 284 for starting outfielder for the Cleveland Guardians, Stephen Kwan.
Which is funny because if someone saw your Twitter, like if you actually saw like between him and
Kev.
You and Kev, they wouldn't think that you were in on them. It's just one of those things that the Indians are going to, wow, look at that. The Guardians are going to Guardian. And I feel like if there's ever a time for them to play it cheap, like, oh, well, you know, we have Naylor back from the IL. It's okay. We'll send the Quan down for a couple of weeks again.
But here's my thought on why I took Quan is I would have taken Riley Green, but Green's out. So here's my spec on the outfield situation. Like, it's my same philosophy in my brain of what's going on there. And Dave Petriozzello just took Jonathan Scope, who's one of my most rostered players in fantasy baseball this year. But that's because I usually draft differently. I don't need him right now the way I'm drafting. So I passed on him like every single round, staring at that. He went late, like Jonathan Scope. I know most people don't care about him, but he's Mr. Consistency in my book. His max pick is 275. He just went at 287. So that's a new max pick on Jonathan Scope.
Jeez.
Yeah, he fell.
I like him. I think he's boring. I think he's boring but safe. You know what you're getting. Kurland, though, I wanted to bring up. So he's hitting 286 this spring in 24 play appearances. That's great. Like, okay, cool. He's still hitting. He has 6 hits, 1 extra base hit. That's what scares me coming off the. And what scares me about that is that it's coming off that wrist injury, which apparently was an ugly rehab. And
yeah,
so
that's never a good thing. Never a good thing.
That's where my concern was with him. Not that he can't obviously gain the strength or show it off once the season matters. It's just that, are we sure that, like, not that I wasn't questioning the health. I was questioning is the power going to show up anytime soon? And I don't know. Maybe it would take a month or so to get going, and then I'll regret not drafting him. But he hasn't been a guy I've actually gone after. I have 0 shares, and I'm not really upset about it. Maybe I will be, but doesn't really run. I know he can run, but is he going to test running and having to slide? Does he slide head first? Like, is that going to is the risk that I don't know what they're going to do with him. I have no idea. I'm just kind of like, I see the appeal. I really do. George, my co-host George, is really, I think he likes him a lot. I haven't been in on him, and it's just one of those things. It's like, we'll see.
Yeah, it's tough.
Strasburg.
He just went. That's when I look at every draft. I'm like, I just don't do it. It's like if you can get 120 good Strasburg innings at his ADP, I think it's pretty solid. It's a big if right now to me. That's the tough part.
So Mateo went off the board. I've been shut out on the guy I've deemed my guy. I haven't stopped talking about him this spring, and I don't know. I'm not taking credit for the inflation, but I don't understand where this Mateo love and 12 teamers is coming from all of a sudden.
Yeah, I had him highlighted. I didn't take him obviously, but I was looking at him. And here goes one of the guys we were talking about. I'm taking Nick Pivetta here. One reason why I love Nick Pivetta this late in drafts is the ratios are always suspect with Nick Pivetta. We've seen really good, we've seen really bad. But what we know we get with Nick Pivetta is strikeouts. So at this point in the draft, pick 293 or whatever, I'll take my chances on Nick Pivetta and see what happens.
I'd rather have Pivetta over Strasburg, Patino, Carrasco, all the injury-prone / injured guys.
Exactly.
Hunter Green, I'd rather have Pivetta over Green. Green's unproven. I understand the appeal, prospect hype, and all that, but yeah, over Detmers even, because Detmers, the 6-man rotation. Tyone. So yeah, I think Pivetta. I think you got him at a good. I even rather have him over McGill. I'm surprised you took McGill ahead of him, to be honest. I think it was a smart. I think what you did was play knowing the hype was there. You took the guy that was probably gonna get jumped, and Pivetta does drop a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely part of how these drafts goes. You have to be able to be like flexible with the hype train and like use ADP as a guide, obviously, but never as the all kind of.
I call it
certain things.
I do the whole "it's a tool, not a rule" thing. That's kind of how I look at ADP. It rhymes, so it sounds good.
Yeah, it rhymes, so it sounds good. That's pretty much how it works. I you on, sir.
I've read Dr. Seuss once. All right.
You said you have 3 kids. You should have definitely read some Dr. Seuss. So now it gets fun because we're in the reserve rounds. We got 5 reserve picks left, and it's like, I already got 2 pitchers in reserves. Probably gonna get some. I got some bats I got highlighted. Another guy that's fallen quite a bit, and I'm not looking to take him right now. Like Frank Schwindel is falling like crazy. That's been an interesting one. Like you have Flaherty, Will Smith, Rushman, Conforto, McCullers as a top ADP. Makes sense. Those all make sense to fall. Fine. But you got Schwindel sitting there still. That's interesting. Aaron Ashby just went off the board. I was wondering when he would go. Zach Eflin, there he goes. So now it's getting fun in the streets. I was looking at Reliever Recon, their closers page right now, and maybe you can help me with this. But why is Ken Giles nowhere to be seen on Seattle's page?
Injured.
Okay, I was looking for that. I couldn't tell where his injury was. I couldn't find anything.
It just happened. I heard it on. I think I heard it on another podcast. I think he just got hurt like yesterday. That's another thing. That's like I try to watch. I try to read the news every night, and I still miss.
I'm looking at stuff all the time, and I'm like, what happened? Here, like, why is he not on the list?
By the way, because I use Roto World still, so I just do a quick search by name, and that's where I'm getting the information. Here, there's the whole write up on.
They're still great for the news. There's no doubting that.
So yeah, that's where I got. I just put the whole blurb in there. Shut down for a couple of weeks due to a finger tendon issue. You know that can linger. Who knows how long that's going to go?
That's not good at all.
Yeah, I know because I needed
a void for me. That's for sure. I was just curious. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, last week he was a really good pick and he's falling. So what the heck's going on? Well, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't fault that one at all. Where did he go? There he is. I'm gonna go that route, which again, throwing ADP out the window here, but I'm actually surprised he hasn't moved up more. Let me see what his ADP has been over the last few days because it's probably no, that's not who I'm looking at. It's pretty close. So we definitely won't be starting the min, but won't be starting the max either. So we'll see how. There goes CJ Abrams at the end of round 25. That's an interesting because they haven't officially announced him on the team yet, have they?
No, but he's a very intriguing fab guy because there's a speed aspect there with him.
Big time speed aspect. I just don't know what the playing time looks like to justify the speed aspect. That's the question.
Are they going to move Cronenworth to first? That would be a waste of his glove, but he can play first base.
Yeah, he did it a lot last year because Hosmer's so bad. Like he did it a lot last year, so it's definitely an option.
I just gave you a name in all caps because I really believe in this guy. So just because I'm gonna throw my bias into it. Like I know it's not my draft.
That's a good pick. I'll put him in my queue. That's a good one. I always forget about him, but that's a very good one.
Because I have to. There's another guy available in Fab that I'm very intrigued by.
That's a good one.
There's so many names, and honestly, again, in the reserve rounds, because you still have Sunday for Fab, which is tomorrow, but at least you never know what's going to happen in the next 24 hours. And these guys can be home runs or drops, and that's fine. I think that's kind of like aiming your reserve rounds, knowing that you have Fab tomorrow. Not bad. It's funny because as soon as I just reloaded Twitter and Williams got picked here, and I'm watching a highlight from Rob Friedman, Pitching Ninja, and it's the Airbender again. God,
that's funny.
Remember last year he was like a top 150 pick or 120 pick.
Yeah, and I'm surprised he hasn't gotten bumped up because Eno was talking him up the other day, like he's still going to get plenty of saves and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, it's like the Blake Trinan situation all over again, except Williams is much better. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but it's a lot of similar things where
a lot less competition too.
Yeah, and Hader's still there, and Hader's going to get the saves. But if Hader gets traded, you're gold. And if the Brewers are as good as we think, Hader can't save every game, so it makes sense. But you still got to throw him out there every time and hope he gets it, and that's where it gets kind of challenging. There goes Frank Schwindel. I think that's a fun value at that point. I don't hate it at all.
No, he's just again another boring guy. Kind of like
There goes Andrew McCutcheon a few picks before that though. I've been debating him for a while. I just don't know how much playing time consistently he's going to get, and he's not running much anymore. McCutcheon.
Oh yeah, Kutch. I don't know, man. That team is like the Brewers are a hard team to read.
Yeah.
100%. They really are, and even Rowdy, who I think's the starting. You know me, it's funny because I'm not anti-Rowdy. It's just he's not doing crap in spring, and not that it should matter that much. But how long of a leash is he gonna have if he kind of meanders? Like right now, he's hitting 250, has a couple home runs, which is nice, but he has more strikeouts than walks. And if he kind of meanders, like, is he gonna platoon? I know he's not terrible against lefties, but they have Brosseau and other guys there. I don't know how to read that team, and there's just so much that they want to make room for. I know they want to make room for Taylor. I know they like Taylor and the team, and even Kane was quoted like, I don't know if you saw the locker room thing, but Kane was like, "Yeah, get this guy's a dog. Get him some more playing time."
Yeah,
like
okay, here's I'm glad he felt to me. Again, it's not his man, not his max, but I love the second base, third base outfield flexibility. He's going to start every day at second base for the Chicago White Sox. I am a Josh Harrison sucker, and I just love that flexibility. and the playing time. Like I'm a big fan of Josh Harrison, so we'll see how that one goes. But that allows me to do so much coming up here.
Did I miss him go?
I believe so. I believe he is gone, but let me triple check for you.
Because I'm looking to. It's sad. I'm looking to drop that guy.
Yeah, he's gone.
Should I be dropping Josh Rojas?
Rojas is gone. I like Josh Rojas. I understand everybody's concern with Josh Rojas. Let's put it that way.
I don't have much concerns about playing time. I think he's going to gain a fourth position of eligibility.
It's not the playing time. I think it's the consistent power upside with him that people are concerned about.
I guess that's the thing. I drafted so much speed and I have so much, like, the speed's not a problem, that I need to drop him for power. I just need to. There's no question. And I need somebody with, like, I just need power. I overdid it on the speed, which is weird. You don't overdo it with speed. No, I did. I have good saves. I have good speed. That's the guy that there's a little fun little speed option. I don't think he's gonna lead off, man. Like, I know it's fun. The idea was fun, but they've been.
They have too many guys. Like, if he does, I'd be shocked. I'd be really shocked.
Because the whole Altuve doesn't want to lead off thing, but they don't like I think he's gonna end up saying, screw it, you have to lead off. Which, if only they had a guy that, they can move their lefty that's batting 6th in this lineup up to lead off and still keep it lefty righty all the way down.
Yeah,
I think they can.
Definitely option. I just don't see them doing it, but it's an option.
No, they don't. Yeah, that's why I'm obviously advocating for Kyle Tucker. I think Tucker's stuck batting 6th until Brantley or Alvarez get hurt.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part. I guess that the embarrassment of riches for them is what it comes down to.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Brantley isn't exactly known for his health, and outside of last year, either is Alvarez. So it's not like there's not a clear path for Tucker to.
It gets frustrating with Brantley because we know he's just a batting average guy now, but I think they love that because they could have the table set. He could drive them in. They're happy.
And great on base guy too. So it's not like he's just batting average. He's actually really good getting on base. Unlike Cesar Hernandez, who might have just, he just went. That's why I brought him up. Okay.
Here comes another spec closer for you. In round 27, I will take my chances with Greg Holland.
Yeah, might as well, because they already said no to Barlow, right?
Yeah, so I'll take my chances there. Now I'm done specking on closers in the 12-teamer.
It's hard not to, because if you can get that third closer, whoa! Can you hear that? Because I can hear that's really loud.
No, I can't hear anything.
Because I guess I had it paused and it just went off in my ear on the Roto World, because I have it uploading or updating every minute or so. There's an ad that runs every time, so.
And then I'm going to queue up right now that person you mentioned in the chat with my next pick.
Nice.
It's OC season. We are in spec season right now. Let's dance. Let's dance here. Let's see what happens. But Holland thing's very interesting to me. I think that's going to be fun. Tyler Naquin, I almost took him instead of Holland. I love Naquin. I have been drafting Naquin everywhere. If you guys still have drafts coming up, don't forget him at the end of your ADP. People do, and I get him late in almost every draft right now. He's going to start every day unless he gets hurt in Great American Small Park. Like, you play Tyler Naquin. Do it.
Here, this is where I get to let you be all excited about spring training stats. Read that line and guess which player of yours had it this spring so far.
He's slashing a monstrous 440, 481, 101 with no homers, 3 RBIs, and a stolen base through 25 at-bats. One of my players?
One of your players is hitting that well. No homers, though, but stole a base. And is hitting 440 with over 1,000 OPS.
Josh Harrison.
No, Quan.
Oh, my dog, my guy. Yeah. I'm going to be the Stephen Quan guy after Twitter today. People are going to love this when they see this thrown out there.
Yeah. Oh, and
I should CC Kev for
Hey, you're going to hate this, though. You should have gone with Haniger. Oh, wait. Sorry, wrong thing. Definitely don't know what the hell that was. Renfro scratch with lower back tightness today.
He does that. There goes Lorenzo Cain probably covering for Renfro right there. That's Renfro gets banged up all the time. That's why there's a FOMO thing. I haven't had a ton of him. Hopefully Quan's great and I can just drop Renfro. Like, let's just go that route. But it makes me already regret not taking Naquin. No, I'll tell you that much. Taking Greg Holland over Naquin, it's going to come back and bite me in the butt real quick. I can already feel it. Especially with some other spec outfielders that are out there.
I just put a name that's very intriguing, by the way. If you're looking for somebody to fill in,
we don't know if he has to fill in yet. It's still early.
I'm saying if he did,
God, I get what you're saying. That's more of a fat move for me.
That's a fun, but that's the toolsy guy that you know.
He's the one. Apparently, you're talking about low-cane comments. He wants him playing.
Yeah, but apparently, Council didn't seem concerned about the issue at all, saying that it was nothing serious. still with opening day just days away. It's something worth monitoring. Yes,
That's the problem.
obviously.
That's the problem with spring right now. It's like when Adamas left a couple days ago, and now he's already back playing. When Brandon Belt is back, Yastrzemski, like all these guys are doing it. It's pure, just like any little boo boo. Like just go sit down for a little bit. We'll talk.
I know
it's smart. Like it makes sense, but it makes it even harder for us to try to navigate the already murky waters. So that's what makes it so much fun as we get going here. We got 3 more picks to go. We're in round 28 right now. We're flying by. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me tonight, Mr. Kerland.
I'm glad you let me. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to distract you at all.
Oh no, we're good. It's better than me trying to fill the airways by myself the whole time. Because while you talk, I can like look up stuff and everything, so it helps me out quite a bit actually.
I am surprised Column A lasted this long because he at least likely has the job.
Exactly, but I think everyone's got that like Coors Field. Oh, there goes Stott. That's who I had queued up. It's a good pick. That's a good pick late. That's a good pick. I can't hate on that. That's fun. I can hate on the person, but that's a good pick. God damn it. That's the fun late rounds.
It's fun. It's oh my god, this thing needs to stop going off.
What?
On my side, it's a CoverGirl ad. It keeps going off, and it scares me.
I can't hear anything. So
yeah, but it's super loud in my ear, and it keeps scaring me. Yeah, CoverGirl's scary, man.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take a gamble on an outfielder here if no one gets frisky with my picks. So that'll be good. We'll see how that plays out for me.
I don't know if that guy I just mentioned is. Oh, you already have enough specs. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with specs right now. He already got picked. He got picked a long time ago.
I thought so. I didn't see him.
Yeah. There goes Rushman. Why take Adley Rushman right now? I don't get it. That one, he's not going to be up anytime. Well, I don't think he will be at least, but we'll see. But I will go this route and see where this lands for me here. But let's go with some Yaz. Bounce back Yaz season.
Lead off Yaz season.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with bounce back Yaz, and then we're gonna go with this dude coming up. We're gonna see how this plays out. First, let me see how he's doing this spring before I get too stupid.
See, like I don't overemphasize spring, but I do look at it. Like
I look at it because if they're really shitting the bed, I want to have an idea of what's going on. But he's been named the starter. He's got a lot of stuff he can do. Yeah, he's only hitting 240. No, that's his projection. Never mind. Spring training. He's hitting pretty good in spring, and he runs a ton. So yeah, we're gonna take a chance on that one if no one screws me there either. So this will be fun. This will be really fun.
I'm hoping it's somebody. I'm hoping it's somebody I think it is.
It's not who you typed in. It's that.
That's a good pick right there.
Yeah, that flexibility. I love flexibility with my late picks because then it really allows. If you are doing fab, it allows you to do a bunch of stupid stuff. Brandon Marsh. I was debating between Yaz and Marsh. But I already took Adele.
That's the pick. Yeah,
I already took Adele, so I'm like, I don't think I need to go that route just yet. But
I actually wrote about that player for Patreon. Like, so I actually do exclusive stuff on Patreon.
Corbin. There goes Patrick. Yeah, plug your Patreon before my next pick. Before I cut you off.
Sure, because why not? I'm shamelessly plugging Patreon.
You need to. You've been on the show long enough. You can plug your stuff.
Patreon.com/SK Playbook. Real original. I know I'm really bad at selling, but I really am proud of what I have planned for the season. Now the idea is to actually do it. But I'm making another announcement on Twitter, so it's like. Anybody finds me there, you'll probably see me announce a few things.
Do you want to give people your Twitter account? Because you haven't done that yet either.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't even mentioned what I do, like half the work I do. I've been on the show a couple times. There's no catching Bloomfield. I remember at one point I was like, oh, I got to catch Bloomfield. He is on the show now. There's no catching Bloomfield. You're
not catching him. That's over. You're not going to win that battle.
No, not at all. But it's a great show. And I meant it, by the way. I'm really I love that's a show that I make sure I listen to a lot of your pods. But that's one I go on my way not to miss. I think it's a great balance between you and him. That's a good spec too. That's one of those guys.
David Robertson, yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, some fun picks here. Patrick Corbin, Gary Sanchez, David Robertson. We are definitely in the back end. It feels like the back end of a 15, not even a 12.
That's I know. Part. That's why it's weird. They're saying that feels like a 12 team pick. Let me see if I can find it.
I like Santander. That's a fun pick. Should I take Keston here for you? No.
At this point, I don't even know what to think anymore. All right, so Wade, right? That's shit.
Yes, Lamont Wade Jr. That's who we're talking about.
Actually,
Lamont Wade Jr., who's banged up. I haven't seen any recent reports on him yet.
Yeah, that was a guy that I actually have him in TGFBI, and now I have to probably Like it's 15 teamer, a lot less on the waiver wire. But I have to comment. I have to.
It looks like he's going to be out for a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Here, I just ignore the numbers. I guess you can read all the other stuff about it. Actually, that's a really shit. Let me just. I'll send it to you without the numbers. There's that. Then there's.
Is this about the guy I want to pick right now?
Yes. This is my little write up on him recently for the Patreon. Right.
Well,
so you have give me exclusives.
I'm gonna pick him around. They just announced him as the everyday shortstop for the Angels. That's Tyler Wade, third base shortstop, outfield eligibility, massive steal source. If he does get to play every day.
That's what. Yeah, I just gave you the inside info on the. I said his name out loud, but I gave you the inside information. Not sure how starting second. It was. Is it shortstop? Because they just mentioned. There goes Hira. See, okay, so is that? I guess Fletcher's gonna play second then. I missed the announcement of Wade.
Yeah. Wade's a starting shortstop, and he should be.
I thought Fletcher was shortstop, and that's why I wasn't sure because they said it. I could find the quote that they said Fletcher's gonna be the starting shortstop. I found that quote, so I'm not crazy. That's why I was like, did they change their mind and put Fletcher at second?
Crazy, but...
Well, I am crazy, but so either way, my initial thing about Wade was 17 stolen bases last year, batting 268, had double-digit walk rate, which helped assisted his 354 OBP. Tyler Wade, this is. Yeah. It was just 145 plate appearances, but the speed, if you want SB upside, this is your poor man's what's his face in the early rounds. We talked about him. Straw.
Yeah, 100%. It's 100% the Straw. I was gonna say Modesty, but he'll play more games, but it's Straw.
It's okay. So Garofalo in the chat says it's Fletcher at SS, which would still make Wade's probably the second baseman. Like if you look at the options. Yeah. Wade's definitely outperforming most. Like, this is when spring training matters. He's outperforming pretty much everybody that would be up for the competition with him.
I know they announced him as a starter today. That's all I can tell you.
See, I missed that. It's funny because I need to go back and talk to somebody about that because we were talking about Wade. I actually brought up Wade to a friend recently about possibly adding him somewhere. But yeah, it's a deeper. He's a deep format guy. I'm surprised. I guess for stolen base upside makes sense here. I'm just trying to think who else is available. I just saw Daniel Bard over Colome. Somebody said,
yeah, and that could be possible because they're talking about using Bard for the strikeouts over Colome because Bud Black said he wants a guy with strikeouts. Will says Wade and Mayfield at second base, according to what they've said. I was listening to multiple shows today talking about Wade, like news info on Wade, and I'll take my chances at this point in the draft, around 29. If for some reason he's not in favor, I can move on from that.
Good catch, by the way, on Lamont Wade Jr. Way to fill it. Way to make. Obviously,
everyone professional. It's the professional, Mike. This is what happens when you do 459 episodes of this show. I got you covered.
Yeah, I'm only at 173. I have a long way to go, but
we'll get there. I'm just hoping my last pick comes up because this last pick is a pure early season play that I could foresee him dropping him, or maybe he finds the next level and we just roll. I'll explain it when we get to him, but this is a complete 2-start type option thing.
So my first, that's my DC 50. So I have Trinan plugged in for week 1 just for the 3 spots, but it's like him or like I hope maybe Aaron Ashby would be better. I'm gonna put Ashby in.
Almost Ashby, saying like put him in as like a long reliever and roll, but at that point, like go take what's his name? I was looking at him earlier, like one of the best guys all last year to do it. He's right here, Brent Suter. He got like 13 wins or something last year for Milwaukee. Stupid. He could totally fill in there.
It's oh gosh, I have to take, dude. I have a team. My first DC, I'm barely
Taijuan Walker, and he's out for a while. I guess this is where it gets interesting to me. It's like I'm going to take a guy I'm purely using as a 2-start option the first week of the season, and these guys are taking Taijuan Walker, who knows when he's coming back for sure.
I have to sit here. I'm over here, my first ever DC. Just right now, just looking and like I'm glad. Like I have no Chris Sale. I have Wade Miley. I have Taijuan Walker. I have Ken Giles. I'm like, I have Ross Stripling, who lost his job since I drafted him.
I'll be 100% honest. I have not looked at any of my rosters yet, and I'm going to do that tonight when I start doing my fabbing because I'm terrified of how some of these early ones look. But I'm on deck. I'm on the clock. So what I'm taking here is someone that's going to get to start Monday of the season. So not Thursday, but Monday, unless the rotations change. But Monday at Detroit. Then he gets his second start versus the Minnesota Twins at home, and that is one Michael Wacha. So I'm going to take that purely for the matchup out the gate.
Okay, that makes sense. I know a few guys are super in on him. I just threw a random name in there that hasn't had the sharpest spring, but the velo increase is very encouraging. And I have him in I have all but one DC. I have him. That's why I'm very, very excited about that individual. Don't know if, again, I guess you're done drafting.
As my final picks, you can talk about whatever you want, Kerland.
Matt Manning was the guy I was talking about. How I'm intrigued. I'm just very big on him in terms of just because he wasn't going in 12s. He just wasn't. And now he is.
All right. Let's just recap my team real quick so we can put people to bed here soon. But I'm looking at my roster grid. At catcher, I got Garver and Carson Kelly. First base / corner infield, Cron and Votto. Middle infield, I got Albies, Chisholm, Josh Harrison for second base. They can play, a couple can play short. Tim Anderson, Bobby Witt Jr., Tyler Wade.
Did I lose you? I think I lost Bubba. I have no idea of the rest of his team.
Tyler O'Neill.
Did I lose you or did you lose me?
No, my computer froze for a second. Like my mouse froze. We're back. In the outfield, I got Tyler O'Neill, Renfroe, Adele, Pham, Quan, Yastrzemski. And then pitching, Burns, Romano, Manoah, Rogers, Ranger, Stroman, Quantrill, Hicks, Ober, McGill, Pavetta, Holland, Waka. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Any thoughts, Kerland, as we are wrapping things up here? I
just enjoyed, honestly, hanging out. I don't know how I feel about your team. I'm not gonna lie. I'm acting like I was like super. There's some. I guess it's not. I've never built your team. I don't have.
It's different than most of my builds too. I'll be honest.
Yeah, not that like again, it's not that it's bad because it's good to diversify. But now it makes me wonder. Maybe I should have diversified even more. Like I have a lot of Yaz, but as a fifth outfield type, I have no Holland. I'm afraid I might have
last pick of the draft, Emilio Pagan. I don't hate that. Don't hate that.
I mean, I think he's not. I think he's not the guy because they're willing to trade him. But
yeah, the fun part about this is I still have about 15 guys in my queue that didn't get drafted.
I know that's what I hate.
I might go drop like Yastrzemski or some others for is what it comes down to.
And that's the thing. It's like you realize you're like at the 12. There's so many players I want that aren't drafted, and then you're like, well, how should I value them because they didn't get drafted? Sure, some of them will get added, but I think there's always going to be like a handful of guys on your watch list that just are sitting there for a good part of the year, like especially if your team performs like you drafted them to.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But what was fun was you joining me, and
I enjoyed it.
Thanks for hopping in. I appreciate it because it saved me from having to talk the whole time. I could actually look at things, so it was fun and some good insight from a second voice, which is always good. I want to thank the people that joined us in the chat. I know Matt was very active in here, and Casey was quite active. We had James, we had Will. I know there was many more. So thanks for joining us on this one, Kerland. Once again, before we leave, plug your stuff, please.
So much. Okay. Bases Loaded Pod in season. We're gonna focus on a lot of lineup construction, lineup stuff. I figured it's the niche. No one else covers it like that, so might as well be something that stands out, right? So Bases Loaded Pod, you'll find me there all season. skplaybook.com is George and I's website. We have the Patreon, skplaybook patreon.com/skplaybook, where I'm going to be doing a daily team by team notes, pretty much like what I'm doing now, but in season, but exclusively for that, along with other things. Again, there's a whole announcement on the Twitter, which you can find me on Twitter at Mike_Kurland. That's the main place. You find me there, you'll find everything I do. I write for The Athletic, so I have like one or two more articles before spring training's done. Then I'm honestly not sure what my schedule is if I have one the rest of the year, which is fine because I have other plans anyway. So we'll see. Yeah. But I'm lucky. I was fortunate enough to land there for spring. I'm not going to argue with the results. And yeah, I'm here with you right now, Bubba.
I appreciate it. Always appreciate it. So make sure you guys follow Mike if you don't. He's awesome. Good human being, good content, fun stuff. I'm on Twitter at BDentric. And like I said at the beginning of the show, if you want to follow the Fantasy Degens YouTube, you'll get all the Bench with Bubba episodes. You get golf episodes for Always Pressing, and MLB DFS Quick Hits comes back starting Thursday, Monday through Friday for you there. Or if you just want to listen to it, it's on your usual listening platform. So get ready for that as well. But lots of fun stuff coming up. Baseball's less than a week away, which is going to be awesome. So you guys have a good evening. Thanks for joining us. This was Benched with Bubba, episode 459, a live NFBC OC draft. I'll catch you guys later.